Welcome everybody to South Kitsap High School, to Joe Knowles Field, as the South Kitsap Wolves get ready to take on the Gig Harbor Tides in the first Narrows League contest of the season. We have a beautiful evening here for football. I'm Darren Bowden, and joining me in the booth here tonight, coming to you live this evening on SKTV Wave Digital Broadband Cable Channel 205. Tonight in the booth is PE and swim coach Dennis Anderson. And Dennis, thanks for joining us here tonight.
You're very welcome. It's great to be here.
Should be a great contest here. South Kitsap is off to a great start this year under the new head football coach Eric Canton, a former South Kitsap alum and a University of Washington football alum as well. He had a little stint as head coach at Bremerton High School and spent some time as an assistant coach here at South and also at John Sedgwick Junior High, but is back up here as the head football coach here at his alma mater. And the Wolves are off to a very, very nice 2-0 start as South Kitsap is looking to go 2-0 at home under new head coach Eric Canton, who is replacing longtime football coach DJ Segerton, who went on to become an administrator here at South Kitsap High School and having a great coaching career at South Kitsap. But we are off to a real nice start, and we wish the best for Coach Canton and his coaches, staff, and the players. And right now what we're going to do is we're going to go down to the field as the South Kitsap High School marching band in the color guard for the NJROTC, who is taking the field to perform the national anthem.
Fade 2. And 1 to the ROTC. 1 to the flag.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join Gary Grams and the South Kitsap Marching Band in our national anthem, conducted tonight by Senior Drum Major C.C. Boyd, Junior Drum Major Aaron Niles, and Field Marshal Dan Smith, our national anthem.
Actually, yeah, 3 get the, yeah, get her. And
2. Let's play some football.
That was the color guard for the NJROTC here at South Kitsap High School leaving the field, and the South Kitsap High School band under the direction of Mr. Gary Grams who performed the national anthem. And we want to just welcome everybody. If you're just tuning in on SKTV Wave Digital Cable Channel 205, I'm Darren Bowden, and joining me in the booth tonight is PE and swim coach Dennis Anderson as the South Kitsap Wolves get ready to take on the Gig Harbor Tides in their first Narrows League contest of the year. Usually a very traditional and huge rival between South Kitsap and Gig Harbor. South Kitsap wearing their traditional maroon uniforms. Gig Harbor sporting some new uniforms here tonight, who also have a new head coach. There's been quite a change in head coaches, just like we mentioned earlier in the broadcast. The new head coach at South Kitsap High School, Coach Eric Canton, taking over the reins. But South Kitsap off to a great start, 2-0, and their first couple of wins over one of the powerhouses of the South Puget Sound League, Kent Ridge Chargers, a 37-20 victory, the first game of the season here at South Kitsap High School. And then last week they completed another victory over the Newport Knights of Bellevue, 33-27, and the Wolves look to keep that going here tonight with a win over their rival Gig Harbor Tides. But what a beautiful day for football, a beautiful evening for football. Dennis, it seems like there's been more summer weather in the fall than there was summer weather in the summer.
It's been crazy. Crazy start to the year, 80 degrees every day. Should be a great night for football with that kind of weather. No rain to worry about. And, it's like not a lot of wind, so it should be good.
You bet. South Kitsap looking to come out with a bit of a balanced offense attack. A lot of throwing and running, as they usually show throughout every year. Starting at quarterback, number 7 is Kevin Watley. In the backfield, we have Adam Gascoigne and Bryce Broom. Watley's got some pretty good receivers to throw to in Tom Simpson, Nick Stoner, and Ryan Camp. But one of the things that is really giving Watley and those running backs some room to throw and room to run is that big offensive line, especially led by number 55, Austin Knaus, the senior for the Wolves. So the Wolves are looking to really get something done here on the field, but they have a nice little balanced attack as well on defense. And Dennis, what kind of game do you think we're going to be seeing here tonight from both sides?
Well, the story so far seems to be the 3 runners that South Kitsap has. Seems like they run often and far, and that line, like you mentioned, has done a real good job of opening up the holes. I see a lot of ground control, running the ice. So let's look for that.
Looking for the Wolves right here. Looks like I think that they are going to defer the kickoff, and they will kick off to the Tides. And doing the kicking this evening is going to be number 17, R.J. Poland, as the Wolves get ready here on special teams, as the Gig Harbor Tides have a couple of deep men to receive the kick. The ball is placed at the 40-yard line, and we are getting ready for the kickoff here at Joe Knowles Field. Poland, the left footer, is going to kick it down. It's going to be fielded by Gig Harbor around the 10-yard line, looking to cut up, looking for a little bit of a seam, stutter steps a little, not much. He'll get out to about the 24-yard line, where Gig Harbor, a 14-yard return, and Gig Harbor will have their first offensive series, 1st and 10 at their own 24. So South Kitsap will be starting off the evening here on the defensive side.
Looks like they're going to have to figure out how to cover that spread offense right here. They do a lot of out passes and misdirection.
Gig Harbor doing a lot of throwing here this year, which they are. They're going to start in the shotgun. The quarterback tonight, Connor Scanlon, and they do have that spread offense there. They've got we're already getting fumbled here. They're going to hand off to the up wide receiver who comes on the inside. And boy, he's taken down at the 30-yard line. Nice hit on defense there. That was number 25, Michael Beard, or Adam Gascoigne for the Wolves. But not until they get about 5 yards on the play, where it'll be 2nd and 5 for Gig Harbor. As they come out, they're going to spread it out all night long. Scanlon's going to be in that shotgun. They now have 4 wide receivers, 2 men in the slot. Scanlon with the snap, looks to his left. He's got a man on the slant, and it's tipped and almost intercepted. Adam Gascoigne stayed right there at home. Nice defense by Gascoigne, and he almost intercepted the ball, and that would have been detrimental to the Tides. The pass is incomplete, and it's going to be 3rd and 5 for Gig Harbor. As they come out here, the ball is at the 25-yard line, or the 35-yard line. They're going to hand the ball up straight up the middle. That is the upback, Sterling Brown, and he creeps forward to about, we're going to call it the 33, near the 30, well, it is the 34-yard line, where they will have a first down. So Gig Harbor right off the bat, they get a first down in their first series of plays. Gig Harbor coming out here. They've got 4 wide receivers. Once again, we're going to be seeing this formation quite a bit here tonight. Scanlon, he's going to look to his right, roll to his right. He's got a man, and he throws the ball. It's almost intercepted again, but it is caught by number 21, Jonathan Lawson, for a big gain into South Kitsap territory, past midfield down to the 47. That was a nice throw from Scanlon to Lawson.
Yeah, Lawson is their big go-to receiver. In the O'Day game, he had 8 catches for 120 yards. So you'll look to see. I think that's Gallinger throwing to him quite a bit tonight.
Scanlon takes a snap. He's going to hand it to, that's Brown once again. He is hit initially, spins around, able to get forward just a little bit, and he's going to get a couple, we'll call it 3 on the play, where it'll be 2nd and 7. But one of the things anchoring that Gig Harbor line, or the Gig Harbor offense, is that big offensive line that they have as they come out once again. Scanlon, he's in or Gallagher, that's right, Gallagher. I don't know why I keep saying that.
Garrett Gallinger.
Gallinger, that's right, number 18. Garrett Gallinger. Once we get the quarterback situation straightened out here, I think we'll be just fine. So that's right, Gallinger is in at quarterback. And it's going to be 3rd down for the Tides. They get a couple more on the play. It's going to be 3rd and 6 for the Tides as they send Reese Carlson split to the far side, trips wide receiver to the near side. Gallinger is in the shotgun. He's looking to his right now, right down the middle, and he's got a man open, and the pass is complete. Past the 35, they're going to down it at the 34, and another first down for the Tides into Wolf territory.
That was Jack Schweitzer who caught that ball. He's their go-to guy as well at wide receiver.
Gig Harbor doing a nice job here, very patient, not trying to get too much done. Gallinger's going to send a man in motion. They're going to hand it off to the man in the backfield. That was Reese Carlson. Nice tackle on defense by number 21, Ilya Svetkov, and Ilya made a nice tackle right there for a big loss. Huge loss for the Tides on that play, all the way back to the, we're going to mark it at the just short of the 40, we'll call it the 39-yard line. So a loss of 5 on the play. It's going to be 2nd and 15 for Gig Harbor. They now have 4 wide receivers split 2 each side. Gallinger drops straight back. He's looking for a man, and he throws it up in the air for Brown, or for Carlson, excuse me. And the pass is incomplete, but it was intended for Reese Carlson, but he couldn't make the grab as he went down near the 24-yard line, where it's going to be 3rd and 15 for the Tide. So a big play here, especially on defense for the Wolves.
That was nice coverage for South Kitsap there. Looks like they're starting to figure out this spread offense as far as their coverage is in the defensive area.
There's a little bit of a conference down there. I didn't see a penalty flag, but the official is talking with Gallinger, waiting to see what it is here. Like I said, I didn't see a flag. I don't know if they're looking for a spot or what's going on here. And there was a penalty flag, and it was pass interference on South Kitsap, which is going to be an automatic first down, as the ball is going to be taken down to the 23-yard line. So, but I'll tell you, Dennis, I did not see a flag out there.
I didn't see it either. It must have happened on the turn, because when he went for the ball, I didn't see any contact there. So interesting.
So the Tides get a big break here. Gallinger in the shotgun. He's going to look to his right. He's going to throw it up, and there's Bryce Broom is on the coverage, and the pass is incomplete. It was well out of bounds. Nice defense there by Bryce Broom, who has been shining lately at fullback for the Wolves. Had a great game last week versus Newport of Bellevue, and he was there on the coverage. The pass was intended for number 21, Jonathan Lawson, who is kind of the go-to receiver for the Tides.
Bryce Bruin does a great job in covering those wide receivers. Just a nice job. He knows the reads and where to go.
2nd and 10 for Gig Harbor at the South Kitsap 23-yard line. They're going to fake the handoff to the first man, and they hand it to the second running back, who does not get much. I think they're giving him a spot of about 1 yard where it'll be 3rd and 9. The Tide needs to get to the 13-yard line of South Kitsap for another first down. They are just moving smoothly here in their first series with this spread offense. 4 wide receivers spread out. Gallinger in the shotgun. He's going to drop straight back. He's looking to his right. He's got a man, and he throws it way over his head. The intended receiver was Lawson once again, but it was incomplete, where it'll be 4th down for the Tides, and we'll see if they go for it. If they go for the ball is actually at the 22-yard line. Looks like they will go for it here on 4th down. So the Wolves looking for a big stop as the Tides come out. 4 wide receivers once again. Carlson split to the far side. Gallinger is under center, and he's going to take the snap, and he's going to roll to his right. There is a penalty flag down, and he had a wide receiver open. That was number 3, Blake Fulton, but he got twisted around. But now we see that there was a penalty flag, and I believe it's going to be an illegal procedure against the Tides. The penalty flag came out earlier, and I'll tell you, Dennis, and that looked like they have a sideline infraction against South Kitsap. Wow, a penalty on a 4th down, and the officials called a sideline infraction against the Wolves.
That was a tough break. They had that covered well.
Well, I think that the pass was incomplete, and the Wolves will still get the ball, but they were showing, the officials was showing the indication for a sideline infraction, and but the Wolves nonetheless will have the ball at their own 22, so a failed attempt at a 4th down, and South Kitsap will have their first offensive series here as they come out with 3 wide receivers. Kevin Watley under center. They've got Bryce Broom and Adam Gascoigne in the I formation. Watley's going to hand off to Gascoigne, and he's got a little bit of room up front. He scoots past the 25. I think they're going to place it right at the 25-yard line. It's a gain of 3, where it'll be 2nd and 7. And, South Kitsap is going to try and establish something on that big offensive line up front. Devin Newquist split to the far side of the field. Ryan Camp and Nick Stoner here on the near side. Watley under center. They're going to hand the ball off to Gascoigne one more time. He puts his head down, and he reaches for the 30-yard line. And he's going to be a couple of yards shy, where it's going to be 3rd and 2. So South Kitsap looking to go to that running game early.
Yes, and it looks like they're doing a nice job. I like that extra effort, getting another yard on that play.
Kevin Watley getting the plays from new head coach Eric Canton, longtime alumni here from South Kitsap, graduating back in 1986 as the Wolves come out in that patented power I formation. Bryce Broom is the tailback in this situation. Had a big game last week. They're going to hand it off to Broom, and he scoots out, and he's not going to get that first down. Gig Harbor was right there to shut him down. In fact, he's going to lose a yard on the play, and just like that, the Tide stopped the Wolves first on their offensive series. Great defensive stop there by Gig Harbor, and the Wolves are going to have to punt the ball away. And boy, that's a momentum swing right there for the Tides.
Yeah, I haven't seen that a lot on film. I've watched film on both the first 2 games of South Kitsap, and you haven't seen that a lot on those 3rd downs. They seem to punch it through and get it done. But that's an interesting 3 and out.
So South Kitsap stopped on their first offensive series. They go with 3 running plays. Stopped on the last, and they are going to have Cooper Canton comes in. He was back. The whistles blow here, and it's going to be a delay of game against South Kitsap, so scooted back 5 more yards. Cooper Canton, the sophomore quarterback punter for the South Kitsap Wolves, who also happens to be the son of head coach Eric Canton, is in at punter at the moment. The Wolves have the ball back. Cooper Canton, he's got a kick. It's a low little spiral hanging. It's going to bounce a couple of times, get down to the 40-yard line where the Wolves will down it. But Gig Harbor is going to have some pretty good field position here. And with 5:58 remaining in the first quarter of play, South Kitsap and Gig Harbor stand at a 0-0 tie, but we expected nothing less here in a big rival game between South Kitsap and Gig Harbor.
Yeah, it seems that you throw everything out the door with these two teams. Last year was a crazy game, and you know, for all intents and purposes, South had that thing, and something happened at the end with Gig Harbor, and so this is always a crazy game.
Gig Harbor with the pass. Gallinger throws it way over the head of Lawson, and the pass is incomplete. But and it'll be 2nd and 10 from the 40-yard line. And you know, like you said, we've had some great battles over the years between South Kitsap and Gig Harbor. And even though Gig Harbor is 0-2, you just know that they're hungry not only for a win, but also against playing against South Kitsap. As Gallinger comes out, 4 wide receivers, they're going to hand the ball to the up man, and he's hit hard and taken down. Nice tackle on defense. That was number 27 for the Wolves, Deshaun Booker, inside linebacker. Great stop right there. Gig Harbor only gains a couple where it's going to be 3rd and 8. So a little bit of a defensive battle right here as the Tides come out. Trips wide receivers to the near side. Gallinger under center in shotgun. He's going to roll out to his right. He's going to look for a man, and the pass is incomplete. The intended receiver was Lawson once again, but it goes sailing out of bounds, and it will be 4th down. So the Wolves were able to hold right there, and it's really kind of been a defensive match on both sides of the ball.
It has. It looks like Gallinger's overthrowing that, but the coverage is so good for South Kitsap, he's making him throw it that far out. So just throwing off his timing a little bit, it looks like.
Bryce Broom and Adam Gascoigne are standing back at their 25-yard line. The snap is back for Gig Harbor, and the punt is up. It's going to be taken by Adam Gascoigne at the 27-yard line. He's got a little bit of a seam to the outside. There goes Adam Gascoigne. He gets a little bit of a block for Broom. He tries to cut up. He gets down near the 38-yard line. The 42-yard line inside Gig Harbor territory, but right near midfield is a flag. And I'll tell you, Dennis, I think that's the reason why we didn't see the flag thrown earlier, is because the flags are different color. Instead of the traditional yellow, they're a little bit blue.
They're tough to see out there. They're tough to see, but yeah, you're right. That was a great run by Adam Gascoigne, really maybe sparking the team here to have a good series.
Bryce Broom was back to receive as well, and he threw a nice block on the left side of the field, but even though Gascoigne got down to the 42, there's a penalty flag, and we're looking to see exactly who it's against. It looks like I think the penalty is going to be against Gig Harbor, as the officials are talking with Kevin Watley, and usually that would indicate that the penalty is against Gig Harbor, so the Wolves might be able to pick up some extra yardage here on that punt return. Watley out talking with the officials near midfield. Originally, the ball was placed at the 42-yard line. We're going to pick up the flag here. We'll wait and see what the official's call is, as he now goes over and speaks with the side judge. And it's going to be a hold, a defensive hold against Gig Harbor, but they will decline the penalty, and the Wolves are going to have good field position here, starting at the Gig Harbor 42-yard line. So the Wolves went with 3 straight running plays in their first offensive series, and we'll see what they do next here. They come out in the I formation. They're going to hand the ball off to the tailback, who gets a little bit of room. Oh, and he's just tripped up right at the 40-yard line. That was number 24, Lee Kalima, who, boy, he had a lot of room right there and a nice hole up the middle. And a shoestring tackle by the Gig Harbor defense.
That was a 25-yard run, except for that the Gig Harbor player sticking his arm out there and getting a nice grab.
Lehi Kalima came in for Adam Gascoigne at tailback, and looks like they're going to have him in there a little bit as well. Bryce Broom still in at fullback. You've got Stoner and Camp split to the far side of the field. Watley under center. He's going to hand the ball off to Kalima one more time, and he puts his head down off left tackle. He will get to the 45-yard line, a gain of 5, and it's going to be third and short for the Wolves. So the Wolves need about 2.5, 3 yards, about 3 yards for the first down. So South Kitsap sticking with that running game early on.
Yeah, and they've been so successful with it the last 2 games. I kind of figured they'd start out trying that.
And, you know, usually teams that can establish that running game can also open up that passing game. So, and, you know, who wouldn't run with this big offensive line that they have? So the Wolves come out. It's going to be third and, actually, we're going to call it 4. They have the ball at the Gig Harbor 35-yard line. The Wolves looking to advance. They're going to hand it off to Kalima. Once again, he's hit, spins around, tries to bounce his way forward. He is going to be a little bit short. Gets down to the 33-yard line. He's going to be a couple of yards short. He's going to need about 1.5 yards. And we'll see what the Wolves do here. I can only imagine. I bet the Wolves are going to go for it here. Bryce Broom and Kalima come out of the game. And the Wolves are going to test it right here. They have the ball at the Gig Harbor 34. Wolves looking to advance. Score still tied with 3:04 remaining at 0. Watley is under center. Here they come out in that I formation. Watley, they've got it spread out, and they're going to hand the ball off to Gascoigne. He puts his head down, and I think he's going to get it. Yes, he does. He gets near the 30-yard line, and a penalty flag comes flying in late. We'll have to wait and see what the penalty is. They did get the first down, but there's a Gig Harbor defensive lineman who is pointing in the direction of the Wolves. And instead of a first down, that could push the Wolves backwards just a little bit. So we'll have to wait and see. But I sure didn't see a penalty on that play because it was late. The officials confirming with one another. There's a little bit of a meeting out there. Well, the Wolves are either going to have a first down at the 30-yard line or they're going to be pushed backwards here. So we'll have to wait and see what the penalty is.
It looked awful late to be a holding call.
And there was a personal foul called against the Wolves. So
a late hit.
Maybe either a late hit or there was something that was said. I'm not sure what it was, but
that's a tough break.
That is a tough break, and the Wolves are going to have, it's going to be 4th down. Well, they still haven't moved the chains yet, so we're going to have to wait and see what goes on right here. The ball is spotted at the 30-yard line, but there was a personal foul called. That's usually about a 15-yard penalty.
Yeah, they're going to bring this ball back.
So instead of having a first down at the Gig Harbor 30-yard line, they should move it back to the Gig Harbor 45-yard line. And I don't know if the Wolves are going to go for it here. We'll have to wait and see what they do. They're going to actually move it back. It's a spot foul, so it'll actually be placed at the Gig Harbor 47. So what should have been first down due to the personal foul is now going to turn into a 4th down. And Kevin Watley's coming back out. Actually, they had the first down, so it looks like it was maybe a post-first down. And who's on first? You know, so I think we've got it now. So the Wolves are actually going to have a first down at the Gig Harbor 47-yard line. Should have been at the 30, but it was a post-first down dead ball personal foul, and moves them all the way back to the Gig Harbor 47-yard line. And it was a personal foul against South Kitsap, but nonetheless, the Wolves are going to have a first down at Gig Harbor 47, and they'll have a new series of downs here. They're back in the I formation. Adam Gascoigne is back in at tailback. Watley throws, he slips and he falls, but he's going to be down. In high school football, when the knee touches, you cannot get back up and run. Kevin Watley dropped straight back and slipped. And his knee touched the ground, and instead of having a man open to pass the ball to, the Wolves are going to be down at the 48-yard line of their own. So a couple of mishaps here, Dennis.
Yeah, it looks like he almost righted himself, too. He had that extra little slip at the end, but he almost pulled that one off.
You bet. He tried to keep his balance, but the Wolves are going to have a 2nd and 15 from their own 48. Watley is going to hand the ball off to Gascoigne. He's got a big hole up the middle, runs up left guard, and he takes it down to the 38-yard line, and a penalty flag comes flying in from the Beck judge. I'm wondering if that was going to be a face mask because there was a wide open hole right there.
Yeah, if it's coming from the back there, it usually is some kind of a personal foul or a face mask.
And it is. It's a face mask against Gig Harbor. So the ball is placed at the 39-yard line. But they're going to tack on another 15 yards for this one. Oh, it's incidental. That's what it is. It's an incidental face mask. Unintentional. So South Kitsap is going to have a first down at the Gig Harbor 34-yard line.
It looks like they're building up a little momentum again. So this is good.
You bet. So Ryan Camp splits to the far right side. The Wolves are have a trips formation to the near side of the field. The lone setback is Gascoigne, and they're going to hand it off to him, but he's met the backfield. He's not going anywhere. Nice tackle on defense. That's number 37. That's TJ Turnbull, the 5'11", 200-pound senior for Gig Harbor, and made a great defensive stop there in the flat.
Good penetration there to get in the backfield.
So a loss of 1, and it will be 2nd and 11 for the Wolves, still in Gig Harbor territory. Wolves looking to do something here as the first quarter is nearing the end with about 1:09 remaining, still 0-0. The Wolves in that trips formation, single wide receiver. They're going to fake. Watley rolls to his right. He's got a man. He's got Camp, and he's got a man actually on the flat. Nick Stoner down at the 25-yard line makes the catch about 1 yard shy. Nice catch by Stoner, but a great throw by Watley.
And that was a great read. He also had the back receiver open on a fly route there, but that was a nice read.
Great play, and it was set up well by Watley, who made a great fake to the up back and rolled to his right. Ryan Camp took his man out of the equation heading down the sideline, and Nick Stoner came running across the field on a sideline pattern, on a cross-field pattern, made the catch, and Watley was right on the money as the Wolves are going to have a 3rd and 1. They need to get to the 29-yard line. The Wolves come out in that power I formation as the officials blow the whistles right here with just 14 seconds remaining, and the Wolves are going to call their first timeout. But yeah, you know, Dennis, they're trying, you know, a little bit shaky here, but the Wolves are finally gaining a little bit of that smooth momentum.
Yeah, I see after that penalty, moving back, but still getting the first down. I believe that they got it going again. A little bit of running. They threw their first pass. It was successful. I think maybe Gig Harbor's keying in on the run. They've probably seen tape of how well their runners are doing, the running backs are doing. So, yeah, mixing it up, throwing a pass there.
Doing a really nice job as South Kitsap calls their first timeout of the half. The score is still tied 0-0 with about 14 seconds remaining here in the first quarter. South Kitsap wanting to talk things over. They have a 3rd and 1 at the 25-yard line of Gig Harbor. They need to get to the 24. They had the power I formation before the timeout, and they will stick with that power I formation. Ilya Svetkov is in there along with Deshaun Booker as the two fullbacks in that power I. Bryce Broom, and he starts creeping forward, and Bryce Broom gets off tackle, and he's able to inch his way forward, get past the 15 down to the 14-yard line. It's going to be a first down for the Wolves at the Gig Harbor 14. Nice run by Bryce Broom.
Yeah, and he had a nice hole to run through there. It looks like that left side is starting to open up off tackle there.
South Kitsap has a first down, and they are looking to score. I don't think that they're going to get a playoff here as the first quarter is going to come to an end with the score still tied at 0. But South Kitsap, once they exchange to the other side, they are going to have a 1st and 10 at the Gig Harbor 14-yard line. And, you know, Gig Harbor was doing a pretty good job on defense, but, you know, South Kitsap finally got into a little bit of a rhythm. Couple passes here, but they're sticking with that running game and looking to get into the end zone for the first score of this game.
Yeah, South Kitsap's doing a nice job, and I think they're just going to keep doing what they're doing. Holes are starting to open up. I think you can look for sprinkling in a pass here and there just to keep Gig Harbor off a little bit, but their game is running, and I think we're going to see that. They got three great running backs. Keep them fresh, bring them in, and that's what they've done the last couple games. So, yeah, it's going to be great.
That's one of the keys, too, is that they, a lot of schools around the state have usually one real good running back, maybe two, and they sometimes, can only designate the running to one individual. But South's one of their strengths has always been in the past to where they have multiple running backs or any person who could fill into any position, really. So they've got some depth as the Wolves come out here. We're going to start the second quarter of play. Still tied at 0, but the Wolves are knocking on the doors. They come out, 3 wide receivers, I formation, Watley under center, and he's going to fake the handoff, roll to his right, and he's got a man, and he's looking. He's going to throw it down, and the pass is caught. Devin Newquist, touchdown, South Kitsap. A 14-yard touchdown pass from Kevin Watley to Devin Newquist, and just like that, the Wolves are on the board. Watley did a great job, very patient, faked the handoff, rolled to his right. One of his favorite targets, Devin Newquist, the senior, and he had him open, and Newquist actually had to go up and get the ball a little bit, but made a nice catch, a well-thrown ball by Watley, and the Wolves are up 6-0.
Surprised they went for the pass there. The running was going so well, but, game plan, throw them off.
And
Good call.
that just might be the key right now, trying to establish that running game, which could help open up that passing game.
Absolutely.
So the Wolves get on the board first here, a 14-yard touchdown pass from Kevin Watley to Devin Newquist as R.J. Poland comes in for the extra point, and the kick is up, and it is good. And with 11:52, it only took 8 seconds here at the start of the second quarter. And the Wolves get on the board, and they lead Gig Harbor 7-0. And, Gig Harbor has been doing a nice job, but they're going to have to figure out something here. Otherwise, it could be a long evening if it goes this way.
Yeah, so it looks like Watley is really hitting those receivers, really throwing a nice ball to those receivers. It seems like if his receivers can't catch it, then nobody's going to. That's the kind of ball that you want to throw.
Well, and like we said earlier, you've got all kinds of depth at wide receiver for the Wolves. You've got the likes of Devin Newquist, who just caught that touchdown pass. You've got Tom Simpson, Nick Stoner, Ryan Camp. You've got some really good wide receivers that can all haul in the pass there as the Wolves are getting set to kick the ball off, and they lead 7-0 over Gig Harbor. R.J. Poland is doing the kicking here tonight. The Tides have 2 deep men standing at about their 3-yard line. The ball is kicked from the 40. It's a low line driver. It's going to be taken at the 6-yard line. That is number 20 for the Tides, taken down. Nice tackle. That was Levi Alton for the Tides, but a great defensive stop there by the Wolves. And Gig Harbor is going to have a 1st and 10 at their own 19-yard line. But great coverage on special teams by South Kitsap right there.
That was great. They ran down. They covered all the lanes. It's exactly what you want to do. Usually you see those long run backs when there's 2 people that lose their lane or one guy loses his lane and gets blocked and the other guy gets blocked. So that was great. Great job.
Gallinger is going to hand the ball to the up back. Nice run there by Sterling Brown as he goes straight up the middle for a huge gain of 8 yards. It'll be 2nd and 2 for Gig Harbor. They get 8 yards on the carry. We're going to call the balls down at the 21-yard line. And actually, they'll need 3 yards, 2nd and 7. Tides come out quickly. Gallinger, he's going to hand the ball off to Brown one more time. Tries to spin around for the first down. He's going to be a little short.
And Gig Harbor's missing their starting running back. He had a knee injury last week. I think his name is Garrett Stoik. So Sterling Brown's going to be getting all the running duties tonight.
So the Tides have a 3rd and short. It's going to be 3rd and 2. The ball is at their own 27-yard line. A couple of big running plays right here, but the Wolves looking to got a little bit more momentum back on offense. Now they're trying to get it back here on defense as they'd love nothing but to stop the Tides right here. Gallinger calling a couple of plays. And Gallinger, he's going to look to his right. He's got a man in the flat. Nice route, and the pass was caught by Blake Fulton. And the Tides will have a 1st down at the South Kitsap, we're going to call it, at the Gig Harbor 34-yard line. Tide's breaking the huddle here pretty quick. They've got this slow momentum going, but under the sustained control, they're going to hand the ball off to Brown one more time. Looked like he was tripped up a little bit, fell forward, gain of 3 on the play. It'll be 2nd 7.
Yeah, Gig Harbor's played on turf the first couple weeks, and they practice on turf. So this might be something a little bit new for them. And South Kitsap looks like they're business as usual on the grass. So
Gallinger in the shotgun. He's been in shotgun all night long here. They've got 4 wide receivers. He looks to his left. He's got a man coming in the slant. The pass is incomplete. It was intended for Reese Carlson. Looked like he had it in his hands, but it was good coverage by the defensive back. And the pass is incomplete. Looked like Ilya Svetkov was down there to help break that up. And it's going to be 3rd and long. We'll call it 3rd and 8 for the Tides.
Great coverage on that play. The Gig Harbor receiver caught it, and he ripped it out of his hands. Great job.
Lawson, one of the favorite targets, split to the far side. Gallinger, he's going to drop straight back, looking to his left. He puts the ball up. Oh, and it looks like it was almost intercepted, but it was caught. The man stays on his feet. Nice catch by Carlson. Nick Stoner was right there on the coverage. Couldn't get any better than that, but Carlson made a great catch. Stayed on his feet, took a hit, kept running. Gets all the way down to South Kitsap territory, where they're going to have a 1st and 10 at the South Kitsap 34. Nice throw by Gallinger. Carlson made a great grab, spun around. They're going to hand the ball off to the up man. He's not going to get a whole lot there. Number 37, TJ Turnbull. But the Tides are in business after the big pass completion on the 3rd down. And they will have the ball at the 30-yard line. It's going to be 2nd down for Gig Harbor, but Gig Harbor is on the move as they're going to send 2 wide receivers split to the far side. Lawson one more time. Turnbull's in the lone setback. Gallinger, he stutter steps, looks to his man on the right. He's got a man on the slant. The ball is caught. The ball is caught. That is Lawson, and there's his hookup. And he gets the 1st down. That's in Wolf territory, and they're going to down it. We're going to call it, looks like it's going to be down at the 18-yard line, where Gig Harbor is now in business inside the red zone.
Yeah, Gig Harbor's doing a real nice job of finding open space there, getting separation from the DBs.
Carlson split to the near side. They're going to hand the ball off to Turnbull, and he gets up, and he tips his head down, and he's going to get into the end zone for the touchdown. Touchdown, Gig Harbor, just like that. An 18-yard touchdown run by TJ Turnbull, and Gig Harbor is on the board. A real nice offensive series right there by the Tides. Started all the way back at their own 18-yard line. And Gig Harbor with an 18-yard run by TJ Turnbull. You'll see the replay coming up here. They had some great blocking up front. Turnbull did a nice job. There's a little confusion out there. I think they were about a man short. Penalty flag comes out. I think that Gig Harbor was 1 man short. And so there's going to be a penalty flag. We'll have to wait and see who it was. A Gig Harbor man came running out. But, and it was against South Kitsap. I think that looked kind of odd because a Gig Harbor guy came out. They didn't have enough guys on the field, but nonetheless, the touchdown stands. An 18-yard run by TJ Turnbull. And Gig Harbor with the kick. The kick is up, and it is good by Tyler Anderson. Now, Dennis, you might have a few mixed feelings up here as I believe that's your son who's doing the kicking, and the extra point was good. A great kick right there.
That is my son. He plays for Gig Harbor, and I've been teaching at South Kitsap for 28 years. And I'm a Wolf, man. I'm a Wolf.
There you go. You bet. Well, you can do a little bit of both, and it was a nice kick by your son right there, and it is now a tie score with 8:46 remaining here in the first half. South Kitsap got on the board first with a 14-yard touchdown pass from Kevin Watley to Devin Newquist, and Gig Harbor started at their own 18-yard line after the stop on special teams, and they went 82 yards And they got in on an 18-yard touchdown run by TJ Turnbull, and just like that, the score is tied. So both sides doing a good job on defense, and now we're starting to see the offensive side come out for both teams.
Yeah, and on these receiving kickoffs, South Kitsap's they've done a nice job this year. So look to get their momentum back by getting a nice 30, 40-yard run here.
So Gig Harbor getting ready to kick off to the Wolves. They've got two deep men here, and it's going to be a short kick. It's going to be taken by Bryce Broom, and in and around his 10-yard line. He dances around, he gets to the outside, he stays on his feet, he spins around, one tackle, stays on, keeps driving his legs forward, and Bryce Broom gets out past or near the 40-yard line. We'll see where they spot it. And boy, you got to like the way that Bryce Broom runs, because boy, he is one tough kid, and he really gets that ball going.
You know, and it's really nice because it's so nice for a coach and a quarterback to start on the 30 or 40. It just makes a big difference. So great job, South Kitsap, on that kickoff return.
Bet. So South Kitsap gets out. We're going to spot it at the 38-yard line. Actually, we'll call it the 39. So South Kitsap will have decent field position here to start their next offensive series. Their first offensive series took 8 seconds here in the second quarter as they got into the end zone. Watley's going to fake the handoff. He's going to roll to his right. He's got a man out in the flat. The pass is gone, and he is leveled. Oh, my goodness. That was Svetkov, and he made a great catch and did a nice job of hanging on to that ball after he was just flat out leveled.
That is one of the tougher, meaner, bigger hits you're going to see in a high school football game. And he held on to that ball. Great job. Great job.
And not only did he hang on to that ball, but he bounced right back up. So nice catch by Svetkov, and it was a gain of 6. The Wolves have a 2nd and 4 at the 45-yard line, nearing midfield. In a running formation, they're going to hand the ball off to Gascoigne. He tries to bounce to the outside, has a little bit of room, puts his head down, and he is going to be close to the first down. I think the ball's going to be at the 48. We'll have to wait and see. I think he's just a hair bit short of that first down.
And he got away from a 5-yard loss there just by his quick lateral movement there. They had him in the backfield, and he did a great job of not only getting positive yardage, but staying on his feet and being quick.
The defensive end was right there for the Tides, and looked like he would have made the play, but Gascoigne did a good job staying on his feet, and they are just going to be just a hair short. We'll call it 3rd and 1, but he needs more like about a half yard, as there's a little bit of confusion down on the sideline here. And they had to run down, and they're tending to one of the officials on the sideline, making sure that he's okay. And it looked like it was the back judge, but the Wolves are going to have a 3rd and short here. Boy, that was a big hit on Svetkov by Gig Harbor.
Big hit. And this is where South Kitsap shines. These 3rd and shorts with their quick running backs.
Tom Simpson now in the game for the Wolves, split to the far side of the field. Watley under center. He's going to hand the ball off to, and it's fumbled. Looked like there really wasn't that great of an exchange, but looked like maybe Gascoigne fumbled the ball briefly, but the Wolves get the ball back, and they recovered that fumble. That would have been detrimental for the Wolves, and Gig Harbor recovered that one.
It looked like a little bit of a problem with the center and the quarterback, because the person that blocked goes in on the center, went right through and almost made that fumble recovery.
Well, it happened so quick that when Watley got the ball and turned around, Gascoigne was right there, and seemed like the play developed a little too quick, didn't get a very clean exchange, and the Wolves on 3rd and short get the ball, and they're going to have to punt it away as Cooper Canton is in to punt the ball, bounces at the 30. It's going to take a South Kitsap bounce, and it's going to roll all the way to the Gig Harbor 19-yard line. So with 6:27 remaining here in the first half, South Kitsap and Gig Harbor are deadlocked at 7. The Wolves got on the board first with a 14-yard touchdown pass from Kevin Watley to Devin Newquist, and then Gig Harbor turned right around and went 82 yards and scored on an 18-yard run by TJ Turnbull, and that is where we are tied at 7. So Gig Harbor coming out here it was real close for the Wolves. They had a fumble on the play, but they were able to recover and kick the ball and not give Gig Harbor good field position. So Gallinger comes back out. They've been running that spread offense, shotgun formation all night long, as we now have an official's timeout down here. But boy, Gig Harbor looks like a player has to come out for South Kitsap, maybe an equipment issue.
Yeah, and South Kitsap's going to have to figure this spread offense out. They're going to have to look at their defensive back coverages. And
couple of formation changes in the backfield for the Tides. Gallinger is going to hand the ball off to Turnbull, and he's not going anywhere. Nice job by the Wolves. He was met quickly in the backfield. That was number 53, Shaw Hesse, who was right there to drive him into a couple of other Wolves, and he gets back. We'll give him a yard on that, maybe half a yard. The ball's going to be at the 19.5-yard line. Good defensive stop there by the Wolves. Gallinger, he's going to hand the ball off one more time to Turnbull. He's not going to get much, barely across the 20-yard line. Great job up front by the defensive line, and the Tides are going to have a 3rd and long.
Yeah, it looks like they're getting good penetration there. Kind of keying in on that run. Keep doing that.
The Tides, their last series, did the same thing, a couple of running plays, not much, and they got a big 3rd down gain on a passing completion. We'll see how they do here. Gallinger, he takes the snap, looking straight down the middle. Now he rolls to his right a little bit. He's got a lot of running room, and he's going to put his head down. He's going to get the 1st down. He's hit hard right at the 30-yard line. Nick Stoner with a big hit, but Gallinger was able to get past the 1st down. Looked like for a second he wasn't going to get that 1st down, but Gallinger did a nice job to make sure he did get that 1st down.
Yeah, just enough. Took a turn and went 2 more yards up. It looked like he had a good eye for that, where that 1st down was.
So Gallinger with the big run gets down to their own 31-yard line. He's going to hand the ball off to the up back. That's Brown, and he fumbles the ball, and nobody even saw it. Brown got hit. The ball came loose. Luckily, Gallinger saw it, and nobody else even knew where the ball was. And Gallinger was able to see it. He ran, and they're actually going to gain about 2 yards on the play, where it'll be 2nd and 8. So talk about, the Wolves avoided danger, and now the Tides do the same thing.
Yeah, one of the 22 people saw that fumble, and that was the quarterback.
And he was very thankful to fall on that. They've got 4 wide receivers. Gallinger, he's going to look to his left, fake, and he's got a man slant play, and Stoner is right there, but the pass is complete to Carlson another time. Gallinger to Carlson has become a big pickup here. And the Tides are going to have a big 1st down at their own 43-yard line, and they are on the move with 4:25 remaining here in the 1st half. The Tides come out here. Lawson splits to the far side. That's Lawson and Fulton split to that far side. Gallinger, he's going to hand the ball off to Brown. He goes straight up the middle, but he gets about 4 yards on the play. And it's going to be 2nd and 5. And, they're not trying to pick up too much at once. They're just sustaining a nice little drive here.
Yeah, and it looks like they're just mixing it up. A couple of runs, a couple passes, having the quarterback roll out to avoid any sacks or pressure.
Gallinger in that shotgun. He's going to look to the man out, and he's got a pass out in the flat, and the pass was incomplete. Boy, they're lucky that was incomplete because he was dangerously close to that being a lateral. And if the South Kitsap defender was there, he'd been able to pick that ball up and run, but it was a forward pass, incomplete. And it's going to be 3rd and 6 for Gig Harbor at their own 42-yard line.
Another big 3rd down here.
Or, excuse me, the 47-yard line. And Gallinger, he's going to roll fake, and he's got a man coming in on the slant. It's almost intercepted. And it went in and out of the hands of Bryce Broom, who was on the coverage. Lawson was coming in on a slant, and it hit Broom right in the hands. The pass was incomplete. And it's going to be 4th down. So nice job by the Wolves on defense, and the Tides are going to have to punt the ball away.
That looked like a good throw from Gallinger. Looked like Lawson didn't run the route.
Gallinger faked a little swing pass out to the right. Lawson came in on the slant, and he hit him right in the hands, but led him a little too much, and they're going to kick the ball away. He's going to try and angle it. Broom is just going to let it bounce and go out of bounds near the 20. And South Kitsap will have the ball deep in their own territory. Looks like it'll be spotted at their own 18-yard line. So both teams get on the board, but defense has been the name of the game. But, the offense has shown some brilliance here tonight, but they just really have been unable to capitalize on some of the big plays. And it could come down to who is the most disciplined when they've got the ball.
Yeah, both teams can move the ball, and then they get a penalty, or they get a fumble, or they get a bad break. The consistency's not there yet, but you'll look to see some adjustments from South Kitsap at halftime to address those situations.
And all it takes is one little play. Like you said, both teams avoided fumbles early to have turnovers as they're going to hand the ball off to Gascoigne. He tries to bounce to the outside, put his head down, and he's not going to get a whole lot on the play, but he gets out near the 25-yard line. He ran right off right tackle, and tough kid there, and Adam Gascoigne, and he just put his head down, gains 5 on the play. It'll be 2nd and 5.
And he has so much speed going to the outside on that lateral movement. He just turns that corner and beats those angles on the defensive players. He does a really nice job of that.
Going to be just a hair bit short. We'll call it 2nd and 6 from their own 24. 2:53 remaining here in the first half. Watley under center. He's going to fake the handoff, roll to his left, fakes the pass. Nice job by Watley. He's trying to get to the outside. I think he's going to have the first down, and he puts his head down, and he pushes him out, and he does. The chain crew just dropped the markers and got out of the way, and I think they're going to have a first down at the 29.
Yeah, he did a nice job of finding where he needed to go and pushing it through there.
Very savvy and heads up by Watley, the senior quarterback for the Wolves, to make sure not only did he get the first down, but he ran out of bounds. So that will help the Wolves. They still have 2 timeouts remaining. Gig Harbor has all 3 of their timeouts here in this first half, but nice job by Watley to get to the to get out of bounds and stop the clock.
And I don't know if you hear this very often, but Watley runs a real nice game. He really manages the game well.
Watley under center. The Wolves have 3 receivers. They're going to pitch the ball. Penalty flag comes flying in the backfield. Gascoigne looked like they were going for the student body right, but I think that it's going to be an illegal procedure call against the Wolves. That flag was thrown almost right when they snapped the ball, and it's an illegal formation against the Wolves. So they are going to back them up 5 yards, where it'll still be 1st and 50. Well, we'll have to wait and see if they take the penalty. Illegal formation on the Wolves, and they will take the penalty, so they're going to back them up 5 yards, and it'll be 1st and 15 for South Kitsap.
And time's running out.
2:34 left here in the first half of play. Score tied at 7. South Kitsap with the ball deep in their own territory. They've got the ball down at their own 24-yard line. Watley's under pressure, and he's going to be taken down. Good defensive pressure up by that defensive line by the Tides, and they finally get to him, and that's the first sack of the night for the Tides.
And that's a rare sack for the Tides. We haven't seen a lot of those in the game films.
Watley did a nice job of staying in the pocket, but the defensive pressure was right there, and they were able to get to him. So scoot him back even more on the quarterback sack, and it's going to be 2nd down and about 17 yards to go. They need to get down near the 40. They need to get to the 39-yard line. They're going to have the quick pitch up to the front. There goes Bryce Broom, and he swims around his man, keeps his feet going, and he gets down to the 45-yard line, and he's going to have the big first down. Nice run by Bryce Broom.
Yeah, they were running out of time. You'd think they'd start airing it out. Great call.
A quick dive trap play. Bryce Broom, get him. Boy, he's really fun to watch when he gets that ball. He is just fearless, puts his head down and keeps those legs going. As the Wolves are in business, nearing midfield, they have the ball just outside their own 45-yard line. Watley still under center. They're in that I formation. 1:32 remaining here in the first half. They hand the ball to the tailback. He's not going to get very much right there as he gains a couple on the play. He's going to get down to the 48-yard line. The Wolves still have 2 timeouts left with 1:20 remaining. The Wolves acting very calm right here. Now they're trying to get a little bit of a hurry-up offense here. They're trying to spread out, a little bit of confusion on defense there. They send trips right to the far side of the field for the Wolves. One lone setback. They're going to fake the handoff. Watley rolls to his right, stops, and he tucks it under. He's almost taken down, and he is. Nice defensive stop there by the Tides. Watley could not shake the grasp of the defender. That looked like that was Carlson on defense as well, and the Wolves are going to have to burn their second timeout. They didn't have much. In fact, it's only about a loss of one. And they will have the ball at their own 45-yard line with 47 seconds left.
Yeah, and Watley didn't have anybody to throw it to. There was good coverage with the defensive backs of Gig Harbor, but got to give Gig Harbor credit. They're putting the pressure on Watley, and he's just going to have to start using those legs to avoid those guys. He has the speed and the talent.
That was great defensive coverage right there, and it's hard to throw the ball when there's nobody open, but the Tides secondary is doing a nice job against these South Kitsap wide receivers, but the danger is that they have to look out. You know, the Tides have to look out. Wide receivers might be covered, but they'll have tight ends and running backs open as well, so they like to mix it up here. So South Kitsap burned their second timeout. They're going to have a 3rd and 11 at their own 45-yard line. Gig Harbor looking for a big stop right here. Tom Simpson split to the far side of the field. The official talking with the side judge. 47 seconds left here. Still tied at 7. The Wolves need a big play right here on first down, or on 3rd down to get the first down. Watley drops straight back. He's looking for a man, and he's got him. It's intercepted. Threw it right to him. Intercepted near the 45. Stays on his feet, and he's going to be dragged down near the 30-yard line. The Tides were in a zone coverage right there. Watley had a man, but he threw it right to the linebacker who was right there, and the Tides intercept the pass, and they are going to have a first down at the Wolves' 29-yard line. And with 37 seconds left here, Gig Harbor is looking to get on the board here right before half. As we have the replay right here, you can see it. Their coverage was right there, and Watley just he had a man, Newquist. He was looking for Newquist. But the pass was intercepted and taken down. So Gig Harbor coming out here. The ball's going to be at the South Kitsap 29-yard line after the turnover. The big change right there. And the pass is complete to the wide receiver for Gig Harbor, and it's going to be enough for the first down. Gallinger made a nice pass, and it was taken by Lawson, and they're going to call a timeout. So Gig Harbor gets down. They're going to spot the ball at the South Kitsap 14-yard line, where Gig Harbor is going to call their first timeout. They have 2 remaining. South Kitsap has 1 timeout. But nice throw there by Gallinger.
That was a nice throw, and you know it was really good coverage by South Kitsap. It's about keeping the play rolling until your receivers can get open, and it looks like they're in field goal range now if they run out of time. So,
well, that's what we were talking about earlier too. Though is both sides avoided a major mishap for turnovers, but all it takes is just that one, and right now. It goes to the side of Gig Harbor as they intercept the pass from Kevin Watley, and they are in business trying to get on the board. They'd love to get a touchdown, but possibly almost assured, 3 points if they can get it. But Gig Harbor still got some time left here, 29 seconds, but the whistles blow. That's usually in the area of an illegal procedure. There's a penalty flag right down at the 14-yard line, and it is illegal procedure against Gig Harbor. And they're going to scoot them back. They were at the 14-yard line, so scoot them back to the 19-yard line. But the Wolves looking to get a stop here on defense.
And those little penalties are a big deal because now it almost takes you out of field goal range for this high school kicker.
So Gallinger in the shotgun. He's going to look to his left, now his right, now back to his left. And he's got a man in the flat, and he underthrows the intended receiver. The pass is incomplete. And it's going to be 2nd down and 15 from their 19-yard line. They could still get a first down, but they need to get down to the 4-yard line of South Kitsap where the clock would temporarily stop. But they come out here. They are now going to they've got Lawson, the lone wide receiver, to the far side. Two wide receivers to the near side. Gallinger, he's going to roll to his left, gets a block, and he throws the ball, and he's got a man, and it's horribly underthrown. Nick Stoner there on the coverage. Nice job by Stoner out there at corner. Pass is incomplete, and it's going to be 3rd and 15 with 18 seconds left remaining. The score tied at 7. Gig Harbor loved to get in that end zone, but they could still get a first down, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and I don't know who that player was that put the pressure on the quarterback, but he really threw his timing off, and he might have got a little bit of a piece of his elbow there when he was throwing it, because it was grossly underthrown.
So Gig Harbor, a couple of incomplete passes. They've got a 3rd and long at the 19. Gallinger drops straight back. He's got a man down the middle, and it is complete. It is complete down near the 10-yard line. That was Carlson on the reception, but Gig Harbor is going to call their second timeout, as it's going to be 4th down here now. It's decision time for Gig Harbor, but I don't think they're going to mess around here, Dennis. I think they're going to come out and go for the field goal.
Yeah, that pass brought him in close range now. Good range for a good shot with this kicker. Yeah, last week or 2 weeks ago he kicked a 26-yarder, and I think this will be in his range.
Normally you'd like to be able, you'd try and run one more play, but being 4th down, they can't afford it to gamble, so you want to try and at least get the points if you can.
Yeah, and really get into the half with that lead, even though it's only 3 points.
You bet.
Yeah, bringing something, trying to put something on.
It's been a great first half of football here. The Wolves got on the board first. A 14-yard touchdown pass from Watley to Devin Newquist, and now the Wolves are going to call their 3rd and final timeout. I think they're going to just try and freeze the kicker right there, and we'll see if that works or not.
And it's a weird deal because you never know with high school kickers.
Yeah, you really don't, do you?
They haven't had a lot of experience. This kicker is first time varsity, so it's not a bad idea. It's a good idea to try this.
So South Kitsap calls their 3rd and final timeout here in the first half. The score is tied at 7, but Gig Harbor has the ball at the South Kitsap 10-yard line. It's 4th down. Gig Harbor could still get a first down, but they are opting to go with the field goal. So this will be a 20, or no, let's see here. The ball is going to be placed. The ball is at the 10-yard line. This is going to be, I think this is going to be a 24-yard field goal attempt. So Gig Harbor is going for the kick here. Anderson lining up for the field goal. This would put the Tides ahead. The snap is back. The kick is up, and it is blocked. It gets blocked, and it's live, and the Wolves have the ball. Nick Stoner's got the ball. He's got some blockers. Oh, and he's going to be taken down. Hang on to the football. Stoner had the ball, got blocked, and he can take it down. He had a couple of blockers in between, but boy, that was a nice play by the defensive tackler. Had to get through all those Wolves. Well, the kick got blocked.
Looks like the kicker made the tackle, too.
And so as time runs out, Gig Harbor and South Kitsap will go into halftime tied at 7. So for your halftime enjoyment tonight, what a great game here tonight. Saw a 14-yard touchdown pass by Kevin Watley to Devin Newquist, and the Wolves got on the board early 7-0. Gig Harbor on the ensuing kickoff went 82 yards and ended up getting an 18-yard touchdown run, but from TJ Turnbull. The Tides caught a break right there. They intercepted a pass from Kevin Watley. They were able to get the ball down to the 10-yard line, and they went for the field goal, but it was blocked. And so they go into halftime with a tied score at 7. So for your halftime entertainment tonight, you're going to meet some of the up-and-coming video students here at South Kitsap as they introduce some of the award-winning videos produced last year here at South. So enjoy the halftime show, and we'll be right back with the second half.
Hey, I'm Jordan. This is a scholarship video by Cameron Burke. It's a Hal Award-winning video, and it's about how to get free money for college the easy way. Check it out.
High school senior Alyssa Severe is a normal college-bound teenage student. But like so many others on the cusp of high school and college, her financial future can be intimidating.
Well, as you all know, or are going to find out, college is really expensive, so I've been trying to find scholarships to help offset the cost.
However, problems begin to arise when students become intimidated by the search, so here we've got 3 bits of info to help you out.
Number 1, you might not have much competition.
There are a lot of scholarships out there for students who are looking for some extra money for college. You don't always have a lot of competition. There are scholarships out there for left-handers. There are scholarships out there for people from Guam. There are all sorts of scholarships.
The Zolp Scholarship is for kids with the last name Zolp, are Catholic, and plan to attend Loyola University.
I was awarded a $180,000 scholarship for the Navy Nurse Corps. I did this by applying early and writing 2 essays about all my skills and qualifications for the Navy Nurse Corps. It was a lot of hard work, but it was worth it because I'm going to college for free.
Number 2, not all scholarships require a long application.
You don't have to spend a whole lot of time on this, but you do need to spend some time going online, looking at different websites and seeing what's out there. There are 3 basic websites that can help you. collegeboard.org, fastweb.com, and thewashboard.org are 3 good places to start.
The American Fire Sprinkler Association Scholarship has you take a 10-question quiz about fire sprinklers, and for every right answer, you're entered for a chance to win $2,000. So that one takes barely any time, and I got 10 entries from it.
I got a $9,000 scholarship to the University of Mississippi, and it was really easy. I applied to the school, checked a box, and it was based on my SAT scores and my GPA.
And number 3, it's not all about a high GPA.
You also don't have to have a high GPA, so don't think they're all academic merit scholarships. Like I said, there are very obscure scholarships out there that just might be perfect for you.
For example, the Chicken Sophie Major Memorial Duck Calling Contest provides up to $2,000 to whoever can make the best duck call.
So I got a $22,000 scholarship to Drexel University because I turned in my application to the university early. I didn't have to do anything extra for the scholarship.
Now that you've learned about scholarships, here are 10 that you might want to apply for.
Are you really tall or really short? The Billy Barty Foundation pays money to anyone below the height of 4 feet 10 inches, while the Tall Club's International Scholarship can pay females over 5'10 and males over 6'2. Do you consider yourself to be financially savvy? The Excellence in Predicting the Future Award gives $400 for those who can predict the future financial market. Are you an athlete who drinks milk? The Scholarship Athlete Milk Mustache of the Year Award provides $7,500, a spot in a Milk Mustache ad, and a free trip to Disneyland for student athletes with a GPA above a 2.0. On top of those, there's the Core Memorial Scholarship for Star Trek fans studying language, the Duck Brand Duct Tape Stuck on Prom contest for one lucky couple that wears duct tape attire to prom, the Vegetarian Resource Group Scholarship for vegetarians fighting against meat consumption, the Allie McCarver Ratchford Scholarship for single ladies who plan to live on campus without a car, the Carnegie Mellon Bagpipe Scholarship for bagpipe majors, the Tylenol Scholarship for those in a medical field, and finally the OP Loftbed Scholarship for texting or tweeting an answer to the company's seasonal questions.
And finally, don't give up. We hope this video has proven helpful, and we wish you the best of luck in earning those scholarships.
Hey South fans, Jacob Brown here to tell you about our next video, Improv Night by Cody Downey, winner of last year's Howl Awards. These short promos are commercials for school activities, which are always fun, and you're watching the best of the best. Enjoy!
Oh my god, do you remember Megan and Alyssa at the last improv night? Yeah, Megan's like, this is crazy.
No, do you remember Alyssa and the Alyssa like, hey, what? Oh!
So crazy.
What is improv night?
Who said that?
What did you say? What's improv night?
Improv night's the reason I go to SK.
Improv night is the reason Columbus sailed the ocean blue.
Improv night's the reason why Bigfoot exists.
Improv night is the reason why the Denver Broncos beat the Pittsburgh Steelers in overtime with an 80-yard pass by Tim Tebow.
Any more questions? Look into my eyes, Aaron.
Hi, I'm Riley. Next up on our SK Halftime Report, we have a little video for you. It was the Howell Award winner last spring for the Best Event Story, done by Austin Fritz. Austin Fritz covered the Cannes Film Festival. For those of you who don't know, the Cannes Film Festival is a short movie festival held every year with content done by advanced SK students. Check it out.
On Friday, March 23rd, 2012, Cameron Burke and Jessica J. Townsend hosted the 4th annual Cannes Film Festival. It's an event where video production students who normally concentrate on journalism have a chance to make movies. This year, the theme was urban legends.
Boo! Ah! Who are you? Where am I?
But making their own movie for the CFF was not easy.
The hardest part about CFF is definitely the planning, because once you get your script done, which also takes a while,
getting everyone's schedules and working around it and trying to get everyone to shoot on one day.
The audio. I hate audio, and it is very temperamental, and you have to be precise about how you hold the microphone or where you put it.
All the competitors had 1 month to produce, direct, and edit their movies.
Kim, I gotta go. The movie starts in 20 minutes.
You still have 20 more minutes after that because there's 20 minutes worth of previews.
So what motivated the students to compete in the CFF?
Well, I think first of all, we saw a few of last year's CFFs and past CFFs, and I think we were pretty amazed with some of the products.
The fact that it was about a movie. I've always wanted to make a movie, and I thought this was my chance.
I sort of just wanted to do something that would kind of show off my abilities. Hopefully, they come across as good and not poor.
The CFF had a lot of fun.
It's the money!
Excitement. Comedy.
Kelsey, that blade does not match that shirt.
And suspense.
Oh my God!
Overall, they had a great time.
CFF can be fun at times, but it can also make you want to pull your hair out.
Yes, we've had such a blast.
I have had a blast making my CFF.
Finishing it was probably the most fun I've ever had in video, so that's good.
Admission to the CFF required cans of food. Otherwise, they wouldn't call it the Canned Film Festival.
Hey. Yeah, what's up, dudes?
At the end of the show, the judges had to decide the winner. The runners-up were juniors Mike Brothers and Ellen Gordon. But the winner... For the first time in CFF history, there was a tie for the winner. Cody Downey and Marco Seguro ended up in a spectacular first place. After the winners were announced, I interviewed some of the competitors for the CFF.
Nice job. Thank you. I'm going to Disneyland. I'm going with him. Yay! Hey, Matt.
Nice job.
Nice job as a goon, buddy.
Oh, thank you. I lost, so, whatever.
It was fantastic anyways.
It's just a competition.
It's just a competition, but that doesn't matter at all. Woo! Yeah! Yeah!
You did a great job with Mike.
Thank you so much, runner-up. Woo!
Yeah, nice job.
If you missed this year's CFF, you could watch it next year. Whether or not making CFF history, you will always have a great time being a part of it.
Hello, South Kitsap. I am Sam Henderson. Coming up next is a Howell Award-winning video by Cody Downey featuring last year's girls basketball team with their new coach. Enjoy.
For a lot of people, girls basketball takes a backseat to other sports, but here at South, girls basketball is on the front lines. This year, the team has a new head coach, Mike Hewlett. But how has the team responded?
Our new coach this year at South is pretty cool. He understands us girls and he's sarcastic, which helps us not be so serious all the time.
Hewlett's been great. It helped a lot that he was our assistant coach last year. He's done a lot for us this year, so that's helped a lot too. And it took a little bit to get used to his new way of coaching, but it's been good so far.
He's been in the program for the last couple of years, so it wasn't that hard to adjust to having a new coach. We look to going way further with him this year than we did last year.
Over the past 5 years, the Lady Wolves basketball team has gone through 3 coaches. which clearly hasn't slowed them down as they are having a fantastic season.
So far this season, we're undefeated, so we're doing pretty good. So far this year at South, the girls basketball team is undefeated, and that's a big step for us considering last year we were only, I think, second in league. We lost to Bellarmine both games of the season, and then we lost to Minn State.
We beat Bellarmine for the first time in 20-something years. That was awesome.
So how does this team do so well?
We've been playing basketball with pretty much all the girls on the basketball team. And this year, it's our senior year, so we just all come together really close. And that helps us play together better.
We have a lot of depth in our bench, which has helped a lot, getting rotations through and people subbing in and out.
Over the years, the Lady Wolves basketball team have proved themselves as a force to be reckoned with by making it to the state playoffs for the last 4 years. The girls work hard every day to achieve their dream as state champs. And who knows, maybe this could really be the year.
Hello. Next up in this video playlist, we have a public service announcement about the school rules of electronics. It was a Howell Award winner, which means it was one of the best videos recorded last year. So please enjoy this video. Thank you.
Hola! I had a question about last night's homework. You could help me?
So I was at the store yesterday and I saw this thing that I thought I should buy. It was really cute. And
I
then
have
I
a
was
question.
trying to do it. Excuse me. Students.
Students, I know.
And I don't know why the teachers are ignoring me. It's just ridiculous.
Oh, yeah, I know how that goes.
Are you even listening to me?
Oh, yeah. Hello, Ellen.
Well, that's it for the halftime show. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the second half. Go Wolves!
Yep, we can hear you. Welcome back, everybody. We are just about ready to start the second half of play here as the South Kitsap Wolves and the Gig Harbor Tides are tied at 7 here at Joe Knowles Field on the campus of South Kitsap High School. It's been a great football game here tonight. This is Darren Bowden. Joining me in the booth tonight is Dennis Anderson. And I'll tell you, Dennis, it's been a great game here so far in this first half of play.
Yeah, it has. It'll be interesting to see what kind of adjustments they've made. Maybe South Kitsap making some adjustments in the back, maybe some different coverages to try to mix up the passing attack, that spread offense.
South Kitsap, Dennis, we've been talking about it all night where we had, both sides avoided some controversy with fumbling. And luckily, South and Gig Harbor were able to recover their own fumbles. But there was one turnover shortly before halftime as Gig Harbor intercepted a pass from Kevin Watley. But the Wolves did a great job responding on defense as Gig Harbor got all the way down to the 10-yard line. But the South Kitsap defense was able to block an attempted field goal. And the Wolves escaped without giving, the Tides not only just good field position, but having them in a scoring position to go ahead. And so the score remains tied at 7-7. Just a quick recap here. The Wolves got on the board first, a 14-yard touchdown pass from Kevin Watley to Devin Newquist. And then on the ensuing kickoff, South Kitsap had great special teams coverage, and Gig Harbor started with the ball at their own 18-yard line, but they went 82 yards. And they were able to get into the end zone with an 18-yard touchdown run from T.J. Turnbull. And we have remained tied at 7 ever since. Both sides have had some scoring opportunities or getting close to them, especially right there with Gig Harbor near the end of the first half as they had a field goal attempt that was blocked. But it's been a great football game all around as South Kitsap comes out onto the field. They deferred the first half kick, and they will get the ball to start the second half. But we will see. But what a beautiful night for football here.
Great night, and a great way to end the half with that nice little momentum boost, blocking that field goal. Looks like they got through that middle part of the line, and actually they were the kicker away from running that back because that's a live ball. That'd be 7 points. So. Yeah.
South Kitsap will have 2 deep men. They got their patented runners in Adam Gascoigne and Bryce Broom, who also start at tailback and fullback, respectively. And you got to be careful, though. You get the ball in their hands, but especially like we said earlier with Bryce Broom and the way he runs. And it's really fun to watch him run. But South Kitsap, Gig Harbor coming out here in a classic rivalry contest, the opening game of the Narrows League for both sides. South Kitsap 2-0 and Gig Harbor at 0-2 looking for their first win. The Gig Harbor Tides are kicking off here, and they will, and Bryce Broom is going to have the ball at his 7-yard line. He's got some blocking up front. Broom's got a little bit of room. He gets wrapped up, and he's going to be taken down at the 15-yard line. So good special teams coverage there by the Tides. And the Wolves will come out on offense for the first offensive series here in the second half. South Kitsap coming out with a balanced attack on the run, actually starting off doing more running than passing, trying to establish that running game. But and just like that, in less than a minute, South Kitsap gets on the board with 2 touchdowns, and they go up 20-7 over Gig Harbor. And it all first started with the Bryce Broom 35-yard interception return for a touchdown. And then after another Gig Harbor turnover deep in their own territory, South Kitsap gets in as Kevin Watley throws his second touchdown pass of the night to Nick Stoner.
And Darren, he was wide open, and that is an understatement.
There are penalty flags, and the whistles fly on the extra point by R.J. Poland, and it's an illegal procedure call against South Kitsap. The extra point was up and good, but they're going to scoot the Wolves back 5. But like we said, Dennis, turnovers are key, and they're obviously showing here tonight.
Huge deal, and not only the turnover, but where they're turning the ball over. They're turning the ball over deep into Gig Harbor territory. So drives do not have to be long.
So it's just a longer extra point attempt, and it was a low line driver But the extra point is up and good. And just like that, South Kitsap now leads Gig Harbor 21-7. But I'll tell you, Dennis, despite, as you can see right here, Watley, he has a really nice fake, great fake, rolls to his left, and he throws it up. And like you said, he was wide open. Nick Stoner was, caught it in the corner at about the 2 and was able to get in. Looked like there was a little confusion by the defensive backs there for Gig Harbor.
Yeah, and Watley did a nice job of not putting too much air under that ball. Just enough to get it over there, but not enough so that they can recover. The DBs can recover. So, really nice job by Kevin Watley. He really threw a nice ball there.
And despite the turnovers by Gig Harbor here, which has led to 2 direct scores by the Wolves, you know, Dennis, one of the key signatures that has always been a tradition here at South Kitsap is that, especially with their off-season weights and conditioning program, is that one of the strengths of the Wolves is that they wear teams down, and especially in the second half.
Yeah, and Gig Harbor's been a little susceptible to that in their first 2 games, so maybe that's a little bit what you're seeing. That line gets a little worn down, and
R.J. Poland with the kick. It's a line driver taken by Lawson back at the 5-yard line, and he puts his head down and he's thrown down. Nice tackle on defense. That's number 4, Braden Maynard, the sophomore linebacker who made a nice wrap up and threw him down. But Gig Harbor is going to have their second offensive series here with 8:02 remaining in the third quarter of play, but not till Gig Harbor has suffered a couple of untimely turnovers that have led to 2 direct scores by the Wolves, a 35-yard interception return for a touchdown by Bryce Broom, and then a touchdown pass from Kevin Watley to Nick Stoner as Gallinger comes out and he looks for a man out. That's Lawson, and it hits him right through the hands, and it hits him in the helmet, and then it bounces about a mile in the air and goes out of bounds where the pass is incomplete, and it will be 2nd and 10 for the Tides, and looks like we're seeing a little bit of more of a momentum change now.
Yes, and Gig Harbor's been a little bit susceptible to that as well. Passes right to them and their drops, and you know that happens in high school football, but you really got to take care of that ball. If it's to you, you got to catch it.
Gig Harbor with the incomplete pass, 2nd and 10. They have the ball at their own 26-yard line. Gallinger, he's got a man deep. Oh, and he overthrows him, and he had a man wide open. And boy, Gallinger sure wishes he had that one back.
Yeah, and like I was saying about Kevin Watley's ball, he threw it nice with not too much air. That one needed a little more air in it. You got to let your receiver get a chance to get down there.
Gallinger threw a nice pass, but he just led his receiver. The intended receiver was Reese Carlson, who got in behind South Kitsap's secondary. He had him wide open, but the pass was incomplete. 3rd down and long. Gallinger's going to roll to his right. He's got a man out there, and he overthrows his intended receiver, Blake Fulton. And so just like that, 3 passes, 3 incompletions, and Gig Harbor is going to have to punt the ball away. But, boy, I'll tell you what, South Kitsap almost suffered a big loss right there because Reese Carlson had some wide open room to run if he'd been able to bring that ball in.
Yeah.
So Gig Harbor is going to have to punt the ball away. They've got the ball down at their 25, we'll call it the 26-yard line. Back to receive are Bryce Broom and Adam Gascoigne. Gascoigne's going to let it bounce. In fact, it's going to bounce out of bounds, short of midfield. We'll have to wait and see where they spot the ball, and it did. It went out of bounds. They're going to mark it at the 47-yard line. So the second offensive series by Gig Harbor, 3 and out, have to punt the ball away, but not till a couple of costly turnovers. Quick recap here. Tied at 7 going into halftime. Gig Harbor missed a field goal attempt right before halftime, got blocked by that South Kitsap defense, but it was a heck of a game still right at first, but Gig Harbor comes out in a couple of costly turnovers, an interception, and the return for touchdown by Bryce Broom for the Wolves. Went up 14-7, and the Tides got the ball back, and then another costly turnover, and then we had a 21-yard touchdown pass from Kevin Watley to Nick Stoner, and the Wolves are up 21-7, and they have the ball now. We're going to mark it at the 47-yard line, and the officials come running in, and South Kitsap is actually going to take a timeout here They are that's their first time out of the second half.
They've had great field position on every one of their on every one of their drives in the second half, and it sure doesn't hurt when you only get a 20-yard punt. So that helps a lot. And now they're starting on Gig Harbor's side of the field.
So the Wolves will have the ball. They call a timeout here. It might have been a miscommunication or a short number of players, but South Kitsap is going to have the ball at the Gig Harbor 47-yard line after they come out from the timeout. But the Wolves have been doing a nice job here on offense, finally kind of gaining a little bit of a slow start, but I think that's kind of been their signature mark so far this year. Not trying to get everything all done at once and evening it out. So the Wolves coming out here with 7:34 remaining in the third quarter of play. They have the ball at the 47-yard line. Watley's going to fake the handoff. He's dropped straight back, and he's got a man down the middle, and it's going to be intercepted. The pass is going to be intercepted, the second for the night, and this man has got some running room, and there he goes for Gig Harbor, and he's going to be taken out of bounds. The interception by number 2, Jack Sweltzer, and just like that, the big turnover, the second interception by Kevin Watley here tonight, and now a penalty flag goes flying. And I think that's going to be a personal foul against South Kitsap again. South Kitsap was running off the field, and all of a sudden the officials threw a flag, and I think it's going to be another personal foul called against South Kitsap. We'll have to wait and see.
Little extracurricular activity there at the end of the play?
Well, I think, players get frustrated, and you might say a few things out loud, and there's just some things you can't say in order for the officials to hear, and no matter what the situation is, and it's going to be a personal foul against South Kitsap. So the interception return was down to, trying to see where they were spotting the ball.
Looked like about the 30-yard line.
And looked like it went out at about the 30-yard line. And if the penalty stays intact, they're going to tack on 15 more yards for the personal foul. We didn't see who it was on for South Kitsap, but the Wolves, even though they're leading 21-7, now the Gig Harbor Tides have a huge momentum swing going their way after the second interception by the Gig Harbor secondary. And it's a personal foul against South Kitsap.
I'll bet you Kevin Watley would love to have that one back.
He would love to have that interception back, and I tell you, I think Coach Canton and the coaches staff would love to have that personal foul back to not have anybody say anything. So, they're going to have to keep their mouths shut in order to avoid more penalty yardage added to the interception return. And the ball is going to be placed at the South Kitsap 27-yard line.
You can bet that the coaching staff down there is dealing with that now. You really don't want to put yourself in this position where you keep backing up. Yeah, you get an interception and they run it back 20, 25 yards, but you got to really stay away from this extra stuff.
And you add to that the penalty, and the ball will be taken down to the South Kitsap 14-yard line. So with the interception and the penalty, Gig Harbor will have a 1st and 10 at the South Kitsap 14-yard line, and just like we saw earlier with South Kitsap and a couple of touchdowns, Gig Harbor now gets a little bit of a momentum swing after a turnover, the first turnover of the night, or the second turnover of the night for the Wolves, third turnover of the night. Geez, we're going to have to get our numbers here, three turnovers.
Or get a calculator.
You bet. Might have to stomp my feet a little bit here to get the math right, but South Kitsap, their third turnover, 2 interceptions, 1 fumble, and 2 turnovers that Gig Harbor have given up have led to direct scores, and the Tides are unable to capitalize on any of the South Kitsap turnovers, but we'll have to wait and see what happens here. So the officials are looking to get everything straightened out, and once we get the ball put into play with 7:21 remaining here in the third quarter, Gig Harbor is going to have a 1st and 10 from the South Kitsap 14-yard line, and there's nothing that Gig Harbor would love more than to get into the end zone.
And Darren, you really don't want to do this if you're South Kitsap. You don't want to let Gig Harbor back in the game or feel like they can get back in the game. So here's a tough goal line stand right here.
So Gig Harbor trying to take this momentum. They send a man in motion, and they're going to fake the ball, and then they're going to hand it off to Turnbull, and he is going to put his head down, gets into the end zone. Touchdown, Gig Harbor. That's Turnbull's second touchdown of the night. He had an 18-yard touchdown run earlier, and now he gets his second one from 14 yards out, and that is their first direct touchdown after a turnover, added with a costly 15-yard personal foul penalty. And just like that, Gig Harbor is right back in this game. Gig Harbor with a 14-yard touchdown run from TJ Turnbull. 7:14 remaining here in the third quarter of play. The snap is back, the kick is up, and it is blocked again. It was a little low. And it got blocked once again. Earlier we saw a field goal attempt that got blocked, and this extra point got blocked. And so the score now stands at 21-13. And right there, Dennis, that's 4 points, a field goal and an extra point that can be costly to any team.
Very, very tough, very tough. And those are the kind of things that will help South Kitsap get back in the swing of things when they get the ball back here. So look for some more ball control. I think they got to get back to running the ball. They were pretty successful in the first half on that. And they started throwing the ball here, and they had an interception. If I was Coach Kenton, I would say let's get back to the ground.
So South Kitsap, they're going to receive the kickoff here as Gig Harbor gets in with a 14-yard touchdown run from Troy Turnbull. And the score, even though the extra point was blocked, it is now 21-13. South Kitsap over Gig Harbor, and we've seen several different momentum swings here from both sides. So South Kitsap sends Gascoigne and Broom. They're both standing back at about their 10-yard line. Gig Harbor with the kick. It's going to be in the direction of Gascoigne. He's going to take the ball at his own 13-yard line. He's got a little blocking up front. There goes Gascoigne, and he puts his head down, stays on his feet, and he is able to get through, and he gets down to the 40-yard line. Nice job by Adam Gascoigne to hang on to the ball, and he gets all the way down to the 40. He got the ball, and that's about a 28-yard return. And South Kitsap will have very good field position. And like you said earlier, Dennis, there's nothing that coaches like better on any side of the ball but to have really good field position to give yourself a lot of room.
Yeah, and you can't do any better in the 40-yard line. You got 60 yards to go. You do some sustained running. Go back to that run. They've been successful with it. Make Gig Harbor defend the run.
So South Kitsap comes out. They have a 1st and 10 at their own 40-yard line. 7:08 remaining. Gig Harbor just getting on the board, 21-13. They're going to hand the ball off to Bryce Broom, and he just barrels his way forward. He gets about 5 on the gain down to the 45-yard line, and it'll be 2nd and 5 for South Kitsap. But, one thing, though, Dennis, that South Kitsap, that anybody's probably going to look to do, though, but they don't want to get too cute here, and they certainly don't want to turn the ball over again.
Yeah, stay away from the turnovers. There's nothing wrong with getting 5 yards a pop. Theoretically, you need to average 4 yards for a first down, and if you get 2nd and 5, that's all you can ask for.
South Kitsap 2nd and 5 at their own 45. They're going to hand the ball off to, that looks like Gascoigne, and he tries to cut up, and he slips, and his outside foot takes him down. We're going to give him 1 yard on the play, and it's going to be 3rd down and 4 for the Wolves. And sort of a key 3rd down right here. Gig Harbor coming off of the turnover, and then they get the score, 14 yards from TJ Turnbull, and they would like nothing better than to stop the Wolves here on this offensive series, as the Wolves are spreading it out. Now they've got Trips wide receiver to the near side of the field. Wally's going to pitch the ball to Gascoigne, and he has no blocking, and he is going to go down. The Gig Harbor Tides came up. They were able to flush that one out, and Gascoigne just put his head down and hung on to the ball, but he was looking to get that first down, and in fact, he's going to lose a yard on the play. And just like that, great defensive stoppage there by the Tides defense.
Yeah, Gig Harbor did a nice job. They had man on man, and the man who made the tackle got his defender off that push off on his block. So, yeah, when you have man on man and you get that that pursuit, you're going to have a good chance at stopping that run.
Cooper Canton is in to punt for the Wolves, standing back at his own 33-yard line. Big Coop, and it looks like he kind of shanked off the side of his foot a little bit, but he was able to get a nice roll out of it, and it's going to be down by Bryce Broom, so it ended up being a decent punt and pushing the Wolves back just a little bit farther as they are going to have the ball down near their 25-yard line. We'll see where they officially spot it. I think it's going to be placed at their own 23-yard line. Difficult to see the lines out here tonight, but we'll see if we can keep up to par. But South Kitsap had 3 and out on that last series, and with 4:58 remaining here in the third quarter of play, South Kitsap still leads Gig Harbor 21-13, but the Tides are looking to gain a little bit momentum as Gallinger drops back and he looks for a man. He's going to go deep. He's first out of the pocket, and he's going to be taken down by a couple of Wolves. Nice job by the defensive line up front. Gallinger had a man streaking down the right-hand side. Coverage was good, but he had no time to throw the ball as the Wolves' defense was right there to take him down.
Yeah. Way to draw that play out and just keep it going until the interior line could take him down. The great coverage for the defensive backs.
So a loss of 2 on the play. It's going to be 2nd 12 from the 24-yard line for Gig Harbor. That spread offense, Gallinger sends a man in motion. He's going to hand the ball off to the up back who puts his head down, gets to the outside, continues to ride him out down past the 30, call it the 31. He gets quite a few back on that play. Nice run that was. That looked like it was Sterling Brown. And he's going to get near the first down marker, so a big defensive series right here for the Wolves. It's going to be 3rd and short. It's going to be 3rd and 2. Gig Harbor needs to get to the 30-yard line. Gallinger sends a man in motion, and he's going to fake the handoff and send it to the second man, and he's hit hard by the sophomore. That was a nice tackle by DeWalt, Marshad DeWalt, the sophomore, but we'll have to wait and see where they spot it. And they are going to have the first down, even though DeWalt had a nice tackle right there. DeWalt, deceivingly tough. The sophomore coming in had a nice tackle. I think that Gig Harbor only got an extra yard out of it. Gig Harbor 1st and 10, and they are on the move. Gallinger, he's got a man out the flat, and it's thrown a little bit too low. Adam Gascoigne was right there, but Gallinger underthrew his man and just as well as Gascoigne was right there, and he didn't really want to throw an interception right there. That would have taken all of his momentum away.
Definitely, and those are tough passes to catch. You're going out in the flat. You've got to look for the ball, and you also have a visual of the defender coming to hit you too. So those are tough to catch. And
so the incomplete pass, the ball is at the 33-yard line of Gig Harbor, 2nd and 10. They're going to hand the ball off to Turnbull once again, and he barrels his way forward, keeps plowing forward, and he is going to have the first down. What a run by Turnbull.
That was a great run. 2nd, 3rd, 4th effort. The South Kitsap linebacker wasn't able to wrap him up, and he just shook that off and got to the defensive backs there.
Turnbull gets the ball up to the 45-yard line. He's already got a couple of touchdowns here tonight. Gallinger in the shotgun. They're going to hand it off to Turnbull one more time. He gets off right tackle, and he's able to get forward for another 6 yards. And it's going to be 2nd and 4 for Gig Harbor. But, boy, what a great job, not just by Turnbull in his running, but some really good blocking up front by that Gig Harbor offensive line.
And that was a nice open field tackle by Michael Gundrum.
Reese Carlson splits to the far side of the field for the Tides. A low snap, and they hand the ball off to Turnbull one more time, and he barrels his way forward, and he's going to have another first down. So Gig Harbor with a nice sustained drive right here, giving the ball to Turnbull, who is just turning out first down after first down.
He's doing a nice job carrying the bulk of the weight on this drive, Darren.
So Gig Harbor has a first down in South Kitsap territory now on the move. 2:18 remaining here in the third quarter of play, trailing 21-13 to the Wolves. Gallinger takes the snap, fakes a handoff. He's got a man on the sled. Almost intercepted Bryce Broom almost had his second interception of the game, and he would really love to have that one back.
Oh, nice coverage by Bryce Broom. He has been doing the job on that side of the field all night.
The intended receiver ran a nice little slant, but like we said earlier, Broom did a great job of reading the defense and the quarterback, and it was hit, and it was Broom's no fault at all to him because the ball was just low. So the incomplete pass, 2nd and 10, and they're going to hand the ball off to Turnbull, but he is taken down in the backfield. This time Ilya Svetkov is in the back to take him down, and I don't think he got it one on the play, and it's going to be 3rd and long, 3rd and 9 from the South Kitsap 44-yard line. They need to get to the 35 for a first down.
And I'm surprised that they are still throwing to Bryce Broom's side, actually.
Boy, no kidding. The way Broom has been reading defenses, and they would like to keep the ball out of his hands. He's still over there on that side. And Gallinger dropped straight back out of the shotgun, and he's got a man down the middle. Oh, geez, and he threw the ball, had the wide receiver twisted around. It was intended for Carlson, and Carlson couldn't get his body around quick enough to make the reception. The pass is incomplete, and it's going to be 4th and 9 for Gig Harbor, and I don't think Gig Harbor is going to take a chance here. I think they're going to punt the ball away and hopefully get South Kitsap to stay deep in their own territory.
And a big reason that play was broken up was Svetkov hitting the quarterback as he had let go of that ball, and I think that's a big deal here. They've been putting a little pressure on the quarterback, taking his timing off a little bit.
We've got a little bit of we have an official's timeout here down on the field. The ball's going to be placed at the 46, where it is 4th and 9. The Tides need to get to the 35-yard line, but Bryce Broom is going to be back deep in his own territory, standing at about his 6-yard line. The kick is going to be up. It's a wobbly kick down the middle. Broom's coming up. He's going to make the catch down near there, and he tries to bounce to the outside, and there he goes. There goes Broom. He tries to cut up, and he spins around, stays on his feet, and he gets past the 35 down to about the 38, 39-yard line. Nice run by Bryce Broom, and he turned nothing into something.
That was a great run.
Bryce Broom has just been doing a great job, and he's just almost like a runaway freight train once he gets the ball. And they're going to officially mark it down at the 38-yard line. So South Kitsap with the defensive stop right there, a little momentum swing that was going towards the Tide's way. But South Kitsap was able to stop them. And after the punt, they will have a 1st and 10 from their own 38-yard line with 1:13 remaining in the third quarter. South Kitsap leading Gig Harbor 21-13. A beautiful evening here for football at Joe Knowles Field on the campus of South Kitsap High School. Kevin Watley comes out. They are in the I formation. They're going to hand the ball off to the tailback, but he is stacked up and not going anywhere. I think they're going to give his forward progress maybe a yard, and it's going to be 2nd and 9. And I'll tell you, that Gig Harbor Tides defensive line has done a nice job up front tonight.
Yes, they've held on a lot better this half than the previous 2 games, and yep, it looks like they are going to get a yard out of that, but looks like they're plugging up those holes, and South Kitsap is going to have to looks like they're going to have to do something different here, maybe switch gears a little bit.
A 1-yard gain, 2nd and 9 for the Wolves. They're going to fake the handoff. Watley rolls to his left. Oh, he fakes the pass, ducks underneath. He's got a man, and he throws it, and the pass is incomplete. It was intended for Devin Newquist. He caught a touchdown pass earlier, but has been a little quiet since. But Watley did a nice job of escaping danger, and he rolled to his left, faked the pass, got the defensive man up in the air, came back and was able to throw the pass, but he was hurried when he threw it, and it was a little too low to Newquist where the pass was incomplete, and it'll be 3rd and long for the Wolves. It'll be 3rd and 9 at their own 39-yard line.
Nice athletic play from Watley there. Surrounded by Tides and squeezes through to give that receiver a chance.
So the Wolves come out with 4 wide receivers, trips wide receivers to the near side. Gascoigne is the lone setback. They're going to throw the little screen pass, and the pass is incomplete. That was close to being a lateral, but not quite. It hit Bryce Broom right in the hands, but the pass was incomplete, and it's going to be 4th and long for the Wolves. So South Kitsap with a golden opportunity here that was squandered away. And they are going to have to punt the ball away from their own 39. What a great contest here tonight between South Kitsap and Gig Harbor.
Crazy game. It always is every year, you know, and you love these kind of games. You know, it's kind of a rivalry. They're really close to each other, and it always proves to be a great, exciting game.
Cooper Canton into the game again. Will be punting the ball. He's standing back at his own 26-yard line. The Wolves spread it out just a little bit here as well. And Canton is going to, it's a nice spiral. It's going to go over the head of the intended receiver, and it gets a South Kitsap bounce. A great punt by Cooper Canton gets all the way down to the Gig Harbor 10-yard line. Nice job. And see, that's the kind of formation that any team has to look out for, because Cooper Canton also plays the position of quarterback. And not to try and give something away, but you never know if they might go for a fake punt. And Cooper Canton is very capable of getting the job done right there, but instead punts the ball away and gets a great punt off. And Gig Harbor will have the ball deep in their own territory with only 11 seconds remaining. Gig Harbor trails 21-13 to South Kitsap. They have the ball deep at their own 10-yard line. Gallinger under center sends a man in motion, and they're going to blow the whistles. We've seen a lot of penalty flags here tonight, as that usually means an illegal procedure. And I think that it will be, and it is illegal procedure against Gig Harbor. And I'll tell you, Gig Harbor's going to have to be careful, because that's going to put them back at their own 5-yard line, and they can't get too cute here. They don't want to get caught too deep. And actually, it's going to be farther than that. That ball's going to be down at their own 3-yard line. So Gig Harbor is deep in their own territory. South Kitsap would love nothing more than a turnover, but to hold Gig Harbor deep in their own territory, they don't want to give up a big play where it's going to be 2nd and 15 from their own 3-yard line. They're going to hand the ball off to Turnbull, and he is not getting anywhere. Taken down by South Kitsap. And actually, where's the ball? They took the ball away from him, and South Kitsap's going to get a touchdown. That is Marshad DeWalt, the sophomore. When he came in, looked like he made the tackle. We thought the runner was down, and he just stripped him of the ball right out of his hands, turned around, spun around, and ran in for the touchdown. Can you believe it?
What a wild play. That is amazing. He is a big, strong dude. I'm telling you.
Marshad DeWalt, the sophomore for South Kitsap, in on the tackle. Gig Harbor had the ball at their own 3-yard line. They tried to run Turnbull off left tackle. DeWalt came in, made the tackle, stripped the ball, looked like it got handed off right to him, spun around and went into the end zone for the defensive touchdown, the second defensive touchdown tonight. And R.J. Poland with the extra point is good. And with 2 seconds remaining here in the third quarter, South Kitsap now leads Gig Harbor 28-13 on the third turnover by Gig Harbor. And I'll tell you, Dennis, all 3 turnovers have led to 3 direct scores by the Wolves.
I know, that's high school football. You make a mistake, and many times it will come back and haunt you. And South Kitsap, got to give South Kitsap credit. They're taking advantage of these turnovers.
So a little recap here, that the score was tied at halftime, 7-7. And going into halftime, South Kitsap had blocked a field goal attempt by Gig Harbor. They came out after halftime, South Kitsap, and a couple of turnovers, got a 35-yard interception return for touchdown by Bryce Broom, and then a 21-yard touchdown pass from Kevin Watley to Nick Stoner. And then Gig Harbor countered with a 14-yard touchdown run by TJ Turnbull, his second of the night. And then South Kitsap just got the turnover, and the sophomore, Marshad DeWalt, goes in from about 5 yards out as Gig Harbor has the ball at their own 3-yard line. The backman, and he is hit hard by a couple of Wolves and driven backwards. Nice special teams coverage there. They're going to give his forward progress out to the 20. But, boy, I'll tell you what, now all of a sudden we're starting to see both sides really play some football with turnovers to boot. And a penalty flag came flying out, and they're calling a chop block on Gig Harbor, so that's going to be half the distance. The penalty flag is at the 25-yard line. The ball was spotted at the 20, but I think it's a spot foul, so they are going to move the Gig Harbor tides back a little bit more, and the last time, Dennis, we saw Gig Harbor deep in their own territory, a couple of times they turned the ball over.
Yeah, and they got to make sure if they want to stay anywhere near South Kitsap, they're going to have to stop doing that. But you got to give South Kitsap credit. They take advantage of what they're given, and they get their momentum, and they're taking advantage of that. And it's really turning into a nice game for South Kitsap.
Well, what we have now is that that's the end of the third quarter. That's why we have a little bit of a delay here. The end of the third quarter, and the South Kitsap Wolves are on the defensive end, and not only did Gig Harbor get the ball back here after what a great play by the South Kitsap defense, and we had Marshad DeWalt, the sophomore linebacker, and he came in and stripped the ball from TJ Turnbull and just danced right into the end zone for the touchdown, the second defensive score tonight, as Gallinger comes out in the shotgun. They've been in that all night. They're going to hand the ball off to Turnbull. Nice job by the defense right there, the Wolves. Adam Gascoigne leading the way, and Turnbull is not going to get anywhere. Actually, that was the running back number 20 for Gig Harbor. That was Levi Alton, the sophomore. And now that is officially the end of the third quarter of play. And so they ran one play off, and now they're going to switch sides, where Gig Harbor is going to have the ball deep in their own territory. But a couple of 3 scores by the Wolves, 2 on defense. And they now lead Gig Harbor 28-13. And as well as Gig Harbor has been playing tonight, Dennis, they're going to have to stop turning the ball over and stop that momentum by the Wolves.
Yeah, that's the deal. You can't have all those turnovers and try to stay in a game. You're just giving them more possessions. You just can't make mistakes like that. Good football teams will take advantage of that, and that's exactly what South Kitsap's done.
So South Kitsap will come out on the defensive end here. They would love nothing more than to stop Gig Harbor as we get ready to start the fourth quarter of play. South Kitsap leading Gig Harbor 28-13. It's just a beautiful evening here tonight. It's cooled off a little bit, but still a wonderful evening for football. You know, it's that time of season right here in the early fall. And but it's still warm enough. The weather's just been beautiful. Reached about 80 degrees today around the greater Northwest and Seattle area, and you couldn't ask for better weather for football here tonight. And Gig Harbor is coming out after the exchange of the ball to the other end of the field, and they are going to have a 2nd and 11 from their own 11-yard line. South Kitsap looking to stop them on defense. But Gig Harbor is going to have to get some offensive momentum going here if they want to remain in the game. The officials are trying to get the ball set. They get the chain set on the other side, and the ball is actually placed at their own 11-yard line where it'll be 2nd and 12. They need to get to the 23-yard line. There's a little confusion down there by the officials, as I think that they're trying to get the correct placement of the ball. They're having a little conference down there, trying to figure out exactly where the ball is going to be placed. But South Kitsap, a little momentum here. Great defense, and the South Kitsap, Gig Harbor's defense has come up big tonight, but South Kitsap's defense has done the same, except they've got a couple of scores to their resume.
Yeah,
so
those turnovers just mean that the defense comes out earlier and they got to do more work. So
Gallinger hands the ball off to Turnbull. He goes up left tackle, but nothing doing right there. And I think he got back to the original line of scrimmage. They're going to get it back to the 13-yard line, where it's going to be, and it is, it's going to be 3rd and 10. The ball's going to be placed at their own 13. And Gig Harbor is going to look to try and get out of their end of the field here. They're going to stay in that spread formation. Gallinger in the shotgun. He's going to take the snap, and he's going to roll out to his left. And he's flushed out of the pocket. He's got a man, and he's hit hard right away, and the pass is incomplete. Boy, for a second there, it looked like the defensive back for South Kitsap got there and hit him just a little bit early, but I don't see any penalty flags, and the pass is incomplete. And I think the Wolves dodged a bullet there.
Well, they maybe dodged a bullet, but if you get a ball thrown to you right at the numbers, you've got to catch that. You really do. And
Exactly. One of the jobs of wide receivers is that you have to catch the ball. So pass is incomplete. It's going to be 4th and 10 from the Gig Harbor 13-yard line. Adam Gascoigne and Bryce Broom are back to receive the punt. They're both standing near their own 40-yard line. Gig Harbor in a punt formation, a little bit of a low snap, but the kick is up. It's a little bit wobbly down the middle. Bryce Broom takes it at about the 36-yard line, gets to the outside, makes a cut back up, and he is hit, knocked backwards. Good coverage there by the punt team of Gig Harbor, and Bryce Broom's momentum will get him to the 35-yard line. But I'll tell you, Dennis, this is going to be good offensive field position here for the Wolves in the fourth quarter, and Gig Harbor's really going to have to get a stop here.
Yeah, and that seems to be the way it's been all night, and gosh, you got to love that. It really changes the whole dynamics of the game when you get a start with such great field position. So let's see what they do here.
South Kitsap with a couple of offensive touchdowns and defensive touchdowns here tonight, balancing it out. And after the punt, the Wolves will have the ball at the Gig Harbor 35-yard line. The Wolves come out on offense, and they also get into that spread formation. One lone setback. Watley under center. They're going to pass or pitch the ball to Gascoigne. He's got a little bit of blocking, tries to make a cut up, crosses at the 30, stays on his feet, cuts right back up the middle, stays on his feet again. There goes Gascoigne. He gets all the way down to the 12-yard line. Nice run by Adam Gascoigne. Looked like he should have been down about 4 different times, but he eluded tacklers and made a nice run.
Yes, he made 5 people miss, and that's a great running back. Going lateral, keeping your feet moving fast, changing direction. Good run, great run.
South Kitsap with the 1st and 10 deep in the red zone of the Gig Harbor Tides. They have a 1st and 10 at the Gig Harbor 12. Trips wide receivers to the far side of the field. They're going to pitch the ball to Gascoigne. He gets some blocking up front. Gascoigne puts his head down, and a penalty flag comes flying in from Belfair. And we'll have to see what that penalty is. Gascoigne got down to the 7-yard line, a gain of 5, but check the penalty. And that is going to be a hold against South Kitsap, and that flag came flying in pretty fast. South Kitsap got down to the 12-yard line at Gig Harbor, and on the ensuing run, a holding penalty. They got to the 7-yard line, but a holding penalty is going to scoot them back. They need to get down to the 2-yard line for a first down, but with the holding penalty, it's going to scoot them all the way back to the 18. So South Kitsap with the holding penalty is going to have a 1st and 15 at the Gig Harbor 18-yard line. The lone setback, I think that's DeWalt, and they're going to run the reverse to Nick Stoner, who gets to the outside. He's got some blocking. Oh, and he tries to get out of the tackler. Nice coverage there by Gig Harbor after the reverse. And that was DeWalt, who was the lone setback. They pitched him the ball, and he handed off to Stoner for the reverse. But the defensive man for Gig Harbor stayed at home and did a nice job. Only a gain of a couple on the play, and it's going to be 2nd and 13 at the Gig Harbor 15-yard line. Good defense by Gig Harbor not to go for the big fake.
Yeah, that was an interesting play. Looked like it was going to go for more, and looks like the lead blocker maybe shed his block a little bit early. Should have held on to that block a little bit longer and let him get around the corner.
Marshawn DeWalt stays in at tailback. Watley's under center, and they're going to hand off to him, and he is taken down from behind, though. Great surge by the defensive line of Gig Harbor, and it's going to be a loss of 1 back to the 16-yard line, where it's going to be 3rd down for South Kitsap. South Kitsap would love nothing more than to get into the end zone, but more importantly, they're just trying to kill time off the clock here with a 28-13 lead, now just under 9 minutes left in the game.
We might see a fade out to the corner of the end zone here.
Tom Simpson is now in the game, split to the far side of the field. They're in the I formation. DeWalt is the tailback. They're going to fake the handoff. Watley rolls to his right. He's looking for a man, and he's got a man, and he throws it down, and he overthrows the intended receiver. That was Devin Newquist. It was a little too high for him on this one. The pass is incomplete, and it's going to be 4th down for South Kitsap at the 16-yard line of Gig Harbor. And I do not see the kicking team coming out, and I think it looks like South Kitsap's going to go for it here on 4th down.
And that was the play. That was the exact play that they had success on with that first touchdown. And it looks like maybe the route to the receiver was about 5 yards short. You probably noticed, Darren, that when they got that touchdown in the beginning, the receiver is a little bit further in the back of the end zone. I think maybe Watley was looking for that.
Well, South Kitsap is going to take their 2nd timeout. They have 1 timeout remaining. Gig Harbor has all 3 of their timeouts, and I think that the coaches are going to think it over. But South Kitsap has a 4th and long. They would need to get to the 2-yard line, down to the 2-yard line for a 1st down. But the ball is at the Gig Harbor 16-yard line, and I haven't seen the kicking team come out yet.
I haven't either, and I'm pretty sure that kicker is in that range. So I don't know what they're thinking here, but I guess we'll soon find out.
Well, it looks like even with the defensive momentum that even if they are unsuccessful on this 4th down, that the defenses might be able to take over here, because Gig Harbor has been deep in their own territory the last couple of series, and they have been unable to get out of that deep territory. So I think that there is that momentum shift that is going the way of the Wolf, as Eric Canton, head coach for the Wolves, is talking to his offense down there. And obviously, though, he would love to have them get in, and they are. The Wolves are going to go for it here on 4th down. So South Kitsap calls, they are down to 1 timeout remaining here in the first half, leading 28-13 with 8:35 remaining here in the game. They've got 4 wide receivers, 2 split each side. Gascoigne is the lone setback, and now the whistles are going to blow, and South Kitsap is going to call their 3rd and final timeout, back-to-back timeouts. Coach Canton did not like what he saw, and he wanted to call, and he called timeout to stop this play. So South Kitsap now has no more timeouts. Gig Harbor has all 3 of theirs. And Coach Canton is going to try and get the offensive set here in their formation. They need to get down to the 2-yard line for a 1st down to keep things going. But I'll tell you what, even if they're a little bit short, they're still going to be deep in Gig Harbor territory.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I think that's what Eric Canton's thinking. It's like, might as well go for it on 4th down, because our defense has done a nice job when Gig Harbor gets the ball. So, yeah, what do you got to lose, you know?
So back-to-back timeouts called by South Kitsap, and they have no more timeouts remaining. We'll see if they can get it right here. They have the ball 4th down. They're going for it. Ball's at the Gig Harbor 16. 4 wide receivers split, 2 each side. Gascoigne the lone setback. Watley's going to drop straight back, look to his right. He's got a man right there. Nick Stoner makes the catch. I think his forward progress is going to get him the 1st down. Looks like he's going to get a favorable spot, and he does. Nice read by Watley. Stoner made a nice catch, made a cut up inside, and he was able to get the ball past the 1st down marker, and he barely got past it. He did get down to the 2-yard line, and the Wolves are going to have a 1st and goal. Boy, after all that, the Wolves did get what they wanted.
There you go, and that slant in. That slant in is a tough one to defend, but it really is. It really puts you out there as far as a receiver.
8:12 remaining here in the game, and South Kitsap comes out. Now there looks like a little bit of confusion. There's an official's timeout here. A couple of timeouts, and now there's an official timeout. So a lot of timeouts being called down on the field here. And we'll see what the officials are doing here. Looks like they're checking equipment, I guess. The players are becoming very frustrated here. Not sure exactly what's going on down there. You can see some of the South Kitsap players showing some frustration. Now they're going to huddle up the Wolves. We haven't seen anything that's going on here. We're not sure really what's going on down here on the field. The officials are trying to get something correct.
Trying to figure out where they're going to dinner afterwards. So.
Either that or they're just really not sure where the ball was supposed to be placed. We haven't seen any indication of a call. But after all that delay, South Kitsap has a 1st and goal at the Gig Harbor 2-yard line. And now we're ready for play. South Kitsap in the I formation. Watley is going to hand the ball off to Gascoigne, and he is met immediately in the backfield for a loss of 2. It's going to be down to the 4, where it'll be 2nd goal. And boy, I sure wish I knew what was going on down there. I don't know why there was such a big delay. But South Kitsap is going to have a 2nd goal from the Gig Harbor 4.
Nice penetration by Gig Harbor's line there. I think they had that one figured out as far as what South Kitsap was going to do there.
Time ticking away, 7:40 remaining here in the game. 2nd goal for the Wolves at the Gig Harbor 4-yard line. 2 wide receivers split to the near side. Watley's going to look. He's looking for the slant. He flushed out of the pocket. He escapes the grasp, and he finally throws. Oh, just over the hands of Devin Newquist. It was a little bit out of reach. And Newquist had his body twisted around a little bit, still within his grasp. Watley did a nice job of avoiding the sack, and he was able to get the pass off, but the pass was incomplete, and it'll be 3rd and goal from the 4.
He did a nice job there of keeping that play going. Receivers did a nice job, too, of trying to get separation, even though he was under duress.
South Kitsap with the incomplete pass. 3rd and goal from the Gig Harbor 4-yard line. Split wide receivers to the far side. Simpson and Camp are out there. They're going to hand the ball off, fake the handoff. Watley rolls to his right, flushed out of his pocket, and he's got a receiver is caught. The pass is complete to Bryce Broom in the flat, but they're actually going to lose a yard on the play to the 5-yard line, where it's going to be 4th and goal from the Gig Harbor 5. And I still don't see a kicking team coming out here. I think the Wolves want a touchdown. And why not?
Why not?
You might get in there, and at worst, Gig Harbor will have the ball deep in their own territory, and they would have to go possibly 95 yards and get the ball back quickly for another score.
Yeah, and they haven't done anything in the second half, Darren, as far as the ability to move the ball. So this is a good bet by Coach Canton.
South Kitsap is letting some time run off the clock here as well. They're down to 6:30, and there's good. Yeah, they're going to have a delay of game. They'll take the penalty, and they're going to scoot it back.
Bring a
now here comes the kicking team. So the ball is going to be placed at the 10-yard line. It should be placed back at the 17. So this will be a 34-yard field goal attempt.
It's like about 28.
28-yard line. Thank you.
And they wanted that penalty because the angle was too hard to make a field goal.
That's right. I got you right here. So R.J. Poland with the field goal attempt here. The ball is placed at the 17-yard line. The kick is up, and it is good. And South Kitsap with the R.J. Poland field goal goes up 31-13. The ball was placed at the 10-yard line, so that was officially a 27-yard field goal attempt, and Poland just nailed it. So South Kitsap made good, at least came away with 3 points.
And one of the other good things about that is they took 4 or 5 minutes off the clock just by what they were doing down there. And
they did a great job there. There's only 6:22 remaining, and like you said, they weren't able to punch the ball into the end zone, but they did the next best thing, and they came away with a field goal, and they took a lot of time off the clock. So you got to give credit to that offense by South Kitsap of doing a nice job sustaining the ball, no turnovers, and because both teams have been plagued by that tonight, both sides having 3 turnovers each, but the Wolves have been able to capitalize mostly on those turnovers with 3 defensive scores. We haven't seen 1 defensive score by Gig Harbor tonight.
Yeah, the bend don't break has worked out in South Kitsap's favor for sure.
So South Kitsap with the 27-yard field goal. Poland is going to just squib it right down the middle. It's going to bounce around and bounce around some, and it's going to be picked up by the Gig Harbor up man. That was Levi Alton, and he gets all the way down to the 25-yard line where Gig Harbor will have a 1st and 10, but with 6:16 remaining, Gig Harbor is trailing 31-13, and they're really going to have to move the ball on offense now, Dennis.
Yeah, and we haven't seen any indication of that. And, you know, South Kitsap probably knows what's coming. They're going to have to air it out.
So Gallinger and that spread offense are really going to have to work their magic now as they send a man in motion. Gallinger's going to take the snap. He drops straight back, looks to his left, and he's got a man. He's going for the home run ball, and he's got a man with separation, and the pass is incomplete. It was there. The intended receiver was Connor Scannion, but Gallinger led him just a little bit too much. The pass was incomplete, but I think there's a penalty flag down, and I think it's going to be pass interference against the Wolves.
That's interesting. It must have been a hit after the, what is it, the 5-yard? Is it 5 or 10?
And there's a penalty on South Kitsap, not pass interference. I didn't even see it. I was looking at my stats here, and I didn't see what the penalty was, but it
was 5 yards.
Yeah, it was 5 yards. So they're going to have Gig Harbor will have a 1st and 10 at the 30, or excuse me, it's going to be 2nd and 5 at the 30-yard line. So Gig Harbor comes out. They're going to have to get more than 5 yards a pop to get back into this game. And the ball snapped through the hands, and it looks like it's going to be picked up. It's kicked around, and South Kitsap, I think, and the ball is still loose, and they're scrambling around for it. South Kitsap indicating that they have the ball. They fumbled the snap. Geringer fumbled the snap, and South Kitsap comes away saying they have the ball. If they do, then they do. That's going to be the 4th turnover by Gig Harbor. A costly turnover. The 4th turnover of the night by the Tides, and South Kitsap will have a 1st down at the Gig Harbor 18. And just like we said earlier, Dennis, turnovers.
And nobody wanted that ball. It was kicked around 10 times.
There was a high snap, and it went right through the hands of Gallinger.
Yeah, he and he tried to pick it up instead of falling on it. The Cardinals sin. You want to just fall on it, and he wanted to pick it up and try to do something with it. And
that thing just bounced around like a pinball, and finally the Wolves end up with it with a 1st down at the Gig Harbor 18-yard line. So a big momentum swing by Gig Harbor's 4th turnover of the evening. And South Kitsap is in business again with 5:49 remaining here in the game. They're going to fake the handoff, and Watley's going to just roll to his right. Quarterback keeper going to put his head down and stay on his feet. Good job by the Tides, and they're going to have a loss of 1 on the play. But even though Gig Harbor has all 3 timeouts left, I'll tell you, Dennis, it looks like the wind was taken out of their sails.
I'll tell you, turnovers. Every coach will tell you that those are killers. Those are killers. It changes momentum. It gives, 9 times out of 10, it gives the other team good field position. It's just a killer.
South Kitsap with a 2nd and 11 from the Gig Harbor 19-yard line. Coming up on 5 minutes left in the game, ahead 31-13. They're going to hand the ball off to the tailback for the Wolves. The new tailback who's in, that's Kalima. And Kalima gets a little bit of progress. He's going to get down to the 15-yard line. And it's going to be 3rd and 7. So South Kitsap needs to get down to the 8 for the 1st down. But more importantly, they want to keep that clock ticking as more substitutions are coming in. Looks like a little bit of confusion on offense right there, but the Wolves have no more timeouts. So they finally get everybody in there that they want. Watley gets the play from Coach Canton on the sideline. They're up 31-13, looking to do some more damage here. Watley putting his men in certain positions. That's DeWalt, who's split out in the slot. They have 4 wide receivers now, 1 lone setback. That's Svetkov, and he gets the ball and it goes straight ahead, barrels his way forward, gets down to the 10. And there is now going to be a time, or actually, I think there was a turnover. Oh, no, that's what I thought. I was wondering. That clock stopped pretty fast, and the far sideline judge blew the whistle, and then he pointed in the direction of Gig Harbor almost like there was a turnover, but I was wondering what was going on because then the referee in the white hat down there, he turned and signaled that there was a timeout. So Gig Harbor calls their first timeout of the second half. But like we said, Dennis, there's only 4:07 remaining, and Gig Harbor's trailing 31-13. So it's almost safe to say now that they're going to need a couple of miracles here.
Yeah, and you know, South Kitsap, obviously they're not going to get a bunch of first downs here because they're on the 10, but usually what you see is you just keep running the ball and keep getting first downs, and pretty soon Gig Harbor won't be able to stop the clock. They'll use all their timeouts, and when you hear people saying they're running out of time, well, they're running out of time, and maybe it's already gone.
So South Kitsap is going to have a fourth down from the Gig Harbor 10. They need to get down to the 7. They're coming off of the Gig Harbor timeout. They have trips wide receivers, a tight four, double wide receivers near side of the field. And they're going to hand the ball off to DeWalt. He is able to inch his way forward. They're going to stop the clock temporarily because he does get the first down. Nice run by DeWalt right there. And as soon as they set the ball, they're going to get that clock running. So South Kitsap in command. And actually, I think they're going to, and they are. They're going to have a first down. At first, we thought maybe they were going to have a measurement, but they do have the first down. So South is going to have a first and goal, and they are going to spot the ball just inside the 8-yard line. South Kitsap leading 31-13 with 4:01 remaining in the game, but they are driving once again. And I don't know why there is a stoppage of play, but there is an official's timeout. And actually, I think now they are going to bring it out. They're going to have a measurement here. They are going to bring the ball out here and have a measure to see exactly where the ball is spotted. I thought that they had it. The officials, the referee indicated that they did have the first down, but I think they want to take a closer look at this one.
Yeah, they weren't. They were pretty sure about it a few minutes ago.
Well, I think either way, no matter what happens, I think that whether they have the first down or not, South Kitsap's just going to run a play to keep the clock running, and they do. They do have the first down. It's going to be a first and goal from the 7.5-yard line. And South Kitsap could, I think that they've all but got this game under control, but they get a score here, and you'd have to have a couple of really big miracles for Gig Harbor.
Yeah.
So South Kitsap with the ball at the Gig Harbor. We're going to officially spot it at the 7-yard line with a first and goal. Just under 4 minutes now remaining in the game. Totally in control of this game, and South Kitsap will be on their way to a 3-0 start to the 2012 football season. South Kitsap is just going to try and milk every ounce of that clock they can. 3 wide receivers, 2 to the near side. They're going to hand the ball off to Gascoigne. He's met up front, spins around, not going anywhere. Only made it to the 10-yard line. Actually, they're going to give his forward progress to the 9. And it's going to be, they are going to mark it at the 10. And it's going to be second and goal for the Wolves. But the Wolves are in no hurry whatsoever. Watley gets the play from Coach Canton on the sideline. He comes in. Even though the score does not indicate it, it has been a great football game here tonight. Watley under center. They're going to milk every ounce of that clock they can. They're going to hand the ball off and fake, and Watley's going to roll, and he's got a ton of room, and he's going to dive in for the touchdown. Kevin Watley with the 10-yard touchdown run, and that all but seals it for the Wolves.
Really nice run, nice misdirection. South Gig Harbor was looking for another up the middle to try to waste time on the clock, and Watley did a nice job of hiding that ball and getting around the corner.
Kevin Watley with the great fake to the up back, and he had the quarterback keeper put it under his arm, ran towards the end zone, was going to be stopped, and he jumped into the air and extended the ball over the goal line for the touchdown. And with 2:37 remaining, pending the extra point by R.J. Poland, then the kick is up and it is good. And South Kitsap now leads Gig Harbor 38-13. We can see right here on the replay what a nice run here by Kevin Watley. Fake, now look at that, they all bid on it, and he cuts up and he extends the ball over and he gets the touchdown. What a great run by Watley. Watley's had a big night. He's had 2 touchdown passes, and then he runs one from 10 yards out. So he's having a great game tonight.
Yeah, nice athletic move from Watley. Just a heads up quarterback. Just a real nice play. Not making too many mistakes in this game. Running a good game. Calling a good game for South Kitsap. So another nice job from the leader.
So South Kitsap gets on the board once again with a 10-yard touchdown run by Kevin Watley, his 3rd of the night, earlier having a couple of touchdown passes early in the first quarter, a 14-yarder to Devin Newquist, and then a 21-yarder to Nick Stoner in the 3rd quarter, and now he runs in from 10 yards out, and South Kitsap pretty much puts it all away for the victory here tonight, even though there's about 2.5 minutes remaining, 2:37 to be exact. And there's a lot of congratulations going on the sidelines here for the Wolves. South Kitsap with a big game here tonight against their rival Gig Harbor Tides. R.J. Poland ready for the kick, the lefty, and he's going to squib it down the middle, and Gig Harbor's going to take it at the 20-yard line. That looks like Turnbull. He's got a little bit of run, had the ball at the 20, gets out to the 32. A nice 12-yard return where Gig Harbor will have a 1st and 10, but it's all possibly going to seem all for naught as the Wolves are comfortably in the lead, 38-13. It was a close, and I'll tell you what though, Dennis, like we even said earlier, that score does not indicate how close this game actually was just up until just a couple of scores ago.
Yeah, you're right. It was a lot closer game, and the first half going in tied, and then part of that that 3rd quarter. But yeah, South Kitsap's really made a nice taking advantage of all those turnovers.
Gallinger is in at quarterback. He's been in that shotgun all night long. This time nobody in the backfield. And he's going to go for the home run ball, and he's got his wide receiver out in the flat, and the ball is caught. It was caught by Lawson. A nice catch there. He fumbled it around, battled with the defensive back, and they give up a big pass play to get all the way down to the South Kitsap 25-yard line. And Gig Harbor is in a hurry-up offense. The whistles are blowing because they have to wait because they need to get the ball spotted first. There's an official's timeout, which is giving Gig Harbor a little bit of time to get set up before that clock runs, and now they get it going. They have a 1st and 10 at the South Kitsap 25-yard line. Gallinger, he drops straight back, he's got a man, and he's going to go for it again, and he makes a little separation. The pass is caught for a touchdown. Touchdown, Gig Harbor, 2 pass plays in 26 seconds, and the Tides get on the board. And Dennis, I may have spoken too soon.
Well, they'll undoubtedly try an onside kick. They've done that before, so you can look at that. But making up 20 points in 2 minutes, it's been done, but unlikely.
Well, they're off to a good start to try and do it as Gallinger makes a touchdown pass and 2 big pass plays from relatively deep in their own territory, back at their own 32. They go 68 yards, and Gig Harbor gets into the end zone, and I think that Gig Harbor is going to go for 2 points.
Yes, they are. Not too good of luck on the extra point kicking tonight.
Well, and plus, trailing by at least 3 scores, they're going to have to get a couple here. They would narrow it down to 21. They get 17. So the Tides are going to go for the 2-point conversion. And Gallinger is in the shotgun. 2 wide receivers split. Gallinger looks. He's going to throw it to the end zone. He's got a man in the back, and he makes the catch, but he's going to be short, and it's not going to get in. So Gig Harbor now trails South Kitsap 38-19. So they're going to show the replay here, and they show the big pass play, and Gallinger, a nice little pass. The pass was caught by Carlson for the touchdown, and the 2-point conversion was unsuccessful, but Gig Harbor is still 3 scores away, and with 2:09 remaining, South Kitsap's really going to have to make up some big mistakes here, but I just don't see that happening. Or do I have to revert back to my I just maybe spoke too soon just a little bit ago?
I think you're going to be okay here, Darren. I think you're going to be okay.
Well, South Kitsap will get the ball here, and like I said, Dennis, I can only imagine that Gig Harbor just will most likely go for an onside kick, or at least squib it down the middle and try and cause a South Kitsap Wolf to fumble it around and see if they can get a fumble recovery.
I'll be able to tell you in about 3 seconds what they're going to do.
Well, we'll see what they do, as they are going to get lined up here. Touchdown pass from them.
Maybe doing an onside kick.
They
here.
are. They're getting ready. Anderson with the kick, and they're going to has to go 10 yards, and it was touched by South Kitsap, but they will have the ball at their own 46-yard line. And even though Gig Harbor has 2 timeouts remaining, they will be on the defensive side, and they might still be able to get the ball back, though, if South Kitsap doesn't get a first down here, but they would still have to go quite a length of the field.
Yeah. If South wants to run this clock out, they're going to have to get at least 1 first down.
So South Kitsap is going to come out, and I think that they're going to bring out a few sideline players to give some younger guys some experience. They're still up 38-19, ahead by at least 3 scores. And now there's a penalty flag, and boy, this field is just being littered. And it's
delay of game, maybe.
Looks.
No?
I'm not sure what that penalty was. I honestly was looking down at my stats again. I'm going to have to start paying attention to these penalties. I kept looking down at my stat sheet here, and I'm looking at the players and the numbers, and I look up, and then all of a sudden the ball's being moved backwards. So South Kitsap's going to have a 1st and 15 with 2:09 remaining here in the game, leading 38-19 over Gig Harbor. Watley under center. They're going to hand the ball off to the up back, and he is not going anywhere. Gig Harbor has not signaled a timeout yet. We'll have to wait and see. They might maybe get down to the 4th down play if they get there. That they might call timeout and then start, a couple of another big pass plays could get them going, but we'll have to wait and see as Kevin Watley now comes out, and Cooper Kenton, the sophomore, Big Coop, comes in, and he is going to take over the reins at quarterback for the Wolves.
And he's one of the students in my PAC class, a nice young gentleman.
Great athlete, taking after his dad, great athletic family. And Cooper is going to pitch the ball to the tailback, and they're going to get to the outside. That was the tailback, number 34, Marcus Burke, who takes the pitch and gets forward. Gig Harbor is now going to burn their 2nd timeout. They have 1 remaining, and it's going to be 3rd and 13 for the Wolves. Gig Harbor trying to salvage as much time as possible. 1:21 remaining here in the game, trailing 38-19. Barring any incredible miracles or major turnovers, South Kitsap is going to go 3-0 on the season. And I'll tell you, Dennis, they're going to have another tough contest next week. I believe, if my schedule is correct, we'll have to check our local listings for an official listing, but I believe that they travel and play at Bellarmine next week.
Yes, and you hate to see into the future, but these first 5 games for South Kitsap, they've weathered the storm well so far. If they can get through Bellarmine and I believe Olympia's next. The last half of the schedule is very favorable for South Kitsap. So
these first 5 games, Bellarmine next week, and then they travel. Then they come back home on the 28th against Olympia. Always tough as well. And South Kitsap got some tough football as they go here. And Cooper Canton's going to hand the ball off to the up back. Not much doing right there, straight up the middle. And time will be stopped as Gig Harbor is going to call their 3rd and final timeout. South Kitsap has a 4th and 12. They need to get down to the 43-yard line, but they're going to have to punt the ball away. And Gig Harbor will, even though they have no more timeouts, they will get the ball back with 1:15 remaining here, trailing 38-19. So South Kitsap with a couple of early victories over Kittredge out of the SPSL and the Newport Knights over in the Kingco Conference, and now they come back here to Joe Knowles Field on a beautiful evening for football and are on their way to their 3rd victory in a row, most likely going on to beat the Gig Harbor Tides in this big rival game. And I'll tell you, Dennis, it's a great start for Coach Canton and the South Kitsap Wolves to start off 3-0 this year.
Oh yeah, really, really nice. And you know they played some tough teams the first 2 games. Kentridge is always good. Newport had a great quarterback, and they're always good. So 2 good wins against 2 good teams. So
and the offensive side, putting some points on the board. 37 in their first game, 33, and now they're at 38. Cooper Canton gets a line drive spiral. It's going to take a bounce, and it's not going to be touched, and Gig Harbor is going to have the ball down at their own 10-yard line. So trailing by 19 points with 1:03 remaining, Gig Harbor is really going to have to get some things going here. They're going to probably try and see if they can duplicate what they did on the last series where they scored a touchdown in 2 plays.
Yeah.
But then they would have to turn right around and get the ball back on a turnover. But like we said, stranger things have happened.
Or an onside kick.
Or an onside kick.
If
but
they score. Yeah.
With the how well coached they are on that sideline for South Kitsap, always have been throughout the years. I kind of have some faith that that's not going to happen. But you never know what happens here as Gallinger, he makes the pass out to Lawson, who takes it and goes out of bounds, and he's going to have a first down at the 22-yard line. But now we're under a minute to play, 56 seconds left here. Gig Harbor is going to come out here in a hurry-up offense. Gallinger is in that shotgun, been there all night. Now he's going to look to his left, and he's got a man, he's just going to throw it up there. And the pass was intended for Carlson, but he overthrew him just a little bit. Pass was incomplete, and it's going to be 2nd and 10. South Kitsap is going to start 3-0 with some key victories early on, but even more enough, Dennis, they're going to be 1-0 in league.
Yeah, and that really is a big deal. Those non-conference wins are really nice, and they're a big morale booster. But the league wins are big.
Gallinger flushed out of the pocket, and he makes the pass completion to the wide receiver. That was number 12, Connor Scanyon. He was a little slow getting up, and that's because he got stuck by Bryce Broom, who swept him outside just in time. But they're trailing with 41 seconds, and Gallinger's got another man, and he's looking for and he just underthrows him a little bit. Good defensive there by the corner. Nice job by Bryce Broom. Boy, I tell you, he's everywhere tonight.
Yeah, he's had a great night. He's had a great year. An all-state type of player, offense and defense. Plays both sides of the ball. Got to be tiring. You never see it in his play.
So South Kitsap on defense here, trying to close the door on their 3rd victory in a row against Gig Harbor. Gallinger takes the snap. He's going to roll to his right. Flushed out of the pocket, looking. He's got a man down the field. The pass is caught by Lawson, and he is taken down at the 45-yard line of South Kitsap, where the clock will stop temporarily so they can set the chains, but Gig Harbor is going to have to really hurry up here on offense. South Kitsap making a couple of late substitutions. And I don't know if they're going to, they're going to snap it, and there's going to be a penalty, I think. Yeah, there is. Yes. South Kitsap tried to make a couple of substitutions, and they weren't able to get the guys off the field, so there's too many men on the field. And they're going to, the ball's actually at the 46-yard line of South, so they're going to scoot them forward 5 yards.
This is just as good as a timeout.
Too many men on the field. Gig Harbor gets to stop the clock. 22 seconds. But South Kitsap is going to go on to their third victory of the season and go 3-0. And more importantly, they're going to be 1-0 in the Narrows League as Gig Harbor breaks the huddle. They've got 5 wide receivers. Gallinger, and but they're gonna blow the whistles. And I think that it's going to be against Gig Harbor. They didn't even move the ball. I don't even know what they did right there, but they just replaced it right back where it was. Confusing right there, and Gallinger is going to throw it up, and he's got Carlson, and he's going to get in for the touchdown. Just like that, pass touchdown, Gig Harbor. But I'll tell you, Dennis, I don't understand that play. The ball was down at the 45-yard line. They ran a play. The officials blew the whistles. No penalty flags. They brought it back and placed it at the 45-yard line.
I don't get it either.
And Gallinger throws a 45-yard touchdown pass to Carlson. I've never seen that before ever with no penalty flags, and they didn't move the ball. Like they blew the whistle and said, whoa, let's try that again. And I don't really know why they ran that again, but they get in there. But they're going to go for the 2-point conversion, but even if they get it, they're still 2 scores away. They're going to run it straight up the middle to Turnbull, and he's going to be stopped short, so it is no good. But so now South Kitsap leads Gig Harbor 38-25, but it was all for naught because even if Gig Harbor had capitalized on that 2-point conversion, they would still be down by 2 scores. So South Kitsap's going to have 13 seconds to get the ball and run the clock out.
Now you start thinking about it, the 3 extra points and the missed field goal makes it 38-31. An onside kick. Yeah, there's still only 13 seconds left.
But you know, you got to commend them for not giving up.
Yes.
You know, a lot of teams would have packed it in. Sometimes you see some high school teams that, you know, they'll give up in those situations. And Gig Harbor has done a really nice job of not giving up and going as hard as they can.
Yep.
And really kind of making a game for it. You know, the score is indicating that it's a little closer than what it really has been. But
really.
You know, and on top of that, South Kitsap has put in a lot of the, you know, the depth players at second and third positions. So, but you got to commend their spirit for, you know, not giving up. So Gig Harbor with the touchdown pass. 45 yards from Gallinger to Carlson, and they might go for another onside kick. There's only 13 seconds left here in the game. Anderson is going to go for it. They're going to try and run just a little pooch kick off to the right-hand side. It was touched by a Wolf, but they're going to fall down on it right here. And all South Kitsap has to do, Gig Harbor has no more timeouts, and which is kind of odd because the ball was touched a little bit down there, and no time ran off the clock.
It was magical.
I've never seen anything like this. The clock hasn't run since they just ran that last touchdown pass. And I just thought, what in the world is going on here? I've never seen it. The whistles blew, and the officials set the ball back at the line of scrimmage like they were giving them a free play. And now on the kickoff, they just had this, and they're going to run all South Kitsap has to do is take a knee, but they touched the ball on the kickoff and no time ran off the clock. So
looks like they're going into extra innings here.
Boy, I guess they are. So all South Kitsap has to do is now come out here and take a knee, and that will do it. a strange game here this evening. Lots of delays and lots of turnovers, but nonetheless, the Wolves are going to come out here, and they are. They're going to take a knee, and South Kitsap is just going to let the clock run out. And the South Kitsap Wolves are going to come away victorious with their third win of the season over their big rival, the Gig Harbor Tides. So we would like to thank you for joining us here tonight at South Kitsap High School in the football game, as we would like to thank the students of the video production program here at South, led by Mr. Mike Downham, who has made this television program possible, and the people at Wave Broadband Digital Cable Channel 205. And the final score, South Kitsap 38, Gig Harbor 25. We will be back home in 2 weeks as the South Kitsap Wolves. We will be live here again on television as South Kitsap will play the Olympia Bears here at Joe Knowles Field. Check your local listings for next week's game as South Kitsap, I believe, travels to Bellarmine. But like we said, you want to make sure you check your local listings for the official time and schedule for next week's game. And for Dennis Anderson, thank you for joining me here tonight in the booth. I'm Darren Bowden. The South Kitsap Wolves defeat the Gig Harbor Tides 38-25. We'll see you back home here in 2 weeks.